Sunlight streamed into the classroom window, and Zixuan stared boredly at the mathematical formulas on the blackboard, but his mind was filled with the weird campus stories he read online last night. The stories sounded ridiculous. The library bookshelves moved on their own, there were whispers in the corridors late at night, and there were ancient relics hidden under the campus. Zixuan rubbed his eyes and thought, this school is built on a hillside, who knows what is buried underneath? But he has never been the kind of person who takes the initiative to explore. At most, he gossips with his roommates in the dormitory. During the afternoon self-study class, Zixuan slipped out of the classroom and planned to go to the library to borrow a comic book to relieve his boredom. The leaves on the campus rustled, and the wind blew through the playground, mixed with the muffled sound of basketball hitting in the distance. He pushed open the library door, and the air was filled with the musty smell of old books and the fragrance of wood. It was quiet inside, with only a few students looking down at their books. But when he turned into the history book area, the scene in front of him stopped him in his tracks. 3 students were sneaking around a row of towering bookshelves. One of the girls, holding a notebook in her hand, frowned and whispered, "The layout of the bookshelves here is wrong. I heard a noise last night. There must be something fishy." The boy next to him was wearing glasses and adjusting a small instrument, with a green light flashing on the screen. "Xiaolan, don't worry, my heat sensor didn't respond, but the electromagnetic field is a bit abnormal." The third boy leaned against the wall, crossed his arms across his chest, and sneered, "You two are wasting your time again. Where are the relics of this school? It's just selfishness." Zixuan hid behind the bookshelf and listened with bated breath. He recognized the girl as Xiaolan, a senior in high school and the rumored intelligence brains of the detective agency. The boy is Gao Xiang, a technical geek in the computer club who always carries a bunch of electronic gadgets on his back. The taunting guy was Li Chang, who was in the same grade and always liked to pick fights with others. Zixuan's heart beat faster. Isn't this the weird talk he gossiped about? Curiosity scratched him like a cat's claws, and he couldn't help but poke his head out, but accidentally kicked over a fallen book. "Who's there?" Xiaolan turned around alertly, her eyes as sharp as an eagle. Zixuan stood up awkwardly and scratched his head. I'm just here to borrow books. I just heard you talking about ruins and stuff." Gao Xiang pushed up his glasses and looked him up and down. "Are you Zixuan, a sophomore in high school? What, are you interested?" Li Chang rolled his eyes. Here comes another spectator. The club does not accept people who want to show off." Xiaolan smiled, her eyes gentle but probing. "Actually, we are a detective agency and we are investigating ghost stories on campus. If you have any observations, can you tell us?" Zixuan wanted to run away, but those stories flashed through his mind, and his heart palpitated. Why not give it a try? So he took a deep breath and plucked up the courage. Last time I was studying in the library late at night, I saw the bookshelf seemed to be shaking slightly. It wasn't the wind, it was like something was pushing it inside. I thought I saw it wrong at the time." As soon as the words came out, Zixuan himself was stunned. How timid he is usually, he never likes to be pushy. But after I said it, a strange sense of relief came over me. Xiaolan's eyes lit up. "This is a clue. Zixuan, are you interested in joining? We are short of manpower." Gao Xiang nodded. "Yes, the club activities are interesting. I promise you won't be bored." Li Chang snorted. "Whatever, newcomers don't hold back." Zixuan hesitated for 2 seconds, and an inner monologue came to him like a flood. "It's just curiosity, what are you afraid of? If there really are ruins, wouldn't it be a cool adventure?" "Okay, I'll join," he said, his voice firmer than expected. At this moment, he felt that he had changed from a peripheral spectator to a member of the story. From simple curiosity, to the urge to investigate. Club meetings are held in the small conference room next to the library. The setting sun slanted through the window, and maps and notes were scattered on the table. Xiaolan cleared her throat and began to introduce, "Everyone, welcome the new member Zixuan. Today we will talk about the legend of the campus ruins. This school was built during the Republic of China. It is said that there are ancient tombs or some mysterious ruins underneath. The library bookshelf is one of the entrances. If you swipe the right things, you can trigger the mechanism. As she spoke, she unfolded a piece of yellowed paper with vague symbols drawn on it. This is a clue dug from the old school newspaper. It mentioned that student ID card opens the door to the sea of books. It sounds like a student ID card, right? Gao Xiang excitedly took out a homemade scanner from his backpack. I upgraded this thing to detect changes in magnetic fields. Come on, Zixuan, try swiping your student ID card on the bookshelf. Zixuan took out his student ID card from his wallet. The plastic card flashed blue under the light. He thought to himself, this is too science fiction. Wouldn't it be embarrassing if there was no response? But the looks from his companions prevented him from retreating. Li Chang leaned on the chair and mocked, "Boy, don't be embarrassed. This kind of old legend will be in vain." Zixuan approached the bookshelf, his palms slightly sweaty. The bookshelves towered to the ceiling, the wood surface was carved with the marks of time, and the air was filled with fine particles of dust. He put his student ID card close to the sensor slot on the edge of the bookshelf. Wait, when did this slot appear? There was a slight beep sound, and the card lit up green. Suddenly, the entire bookshelf made a low roar, like an underground beast waking up. The bookshelf slowly slid to the side, revealing a dark passage with moss-covered walls and a cool breeze blowing from inside, mixed with the smell of earth and staleness. Wow! It's really moving. Gao Xiang jumped up, and the scanner flashed crazily. The peak value of the magnetic field is off the charts. This is an ancient mechanism. Xiaolan's eyes widened. Zixuan, your golden finger. Come on, go in and take a look. Li Chang's smile froze on his face and he murmured, it's impossible, this. Zixuan's heart was pounding, excitement mixed with a hint of fear. This was his first trigger, and his sense of responsibility came like a heavy burden. I have to protect everyone, and I can't let curiosity harm others. But the temptation of the unknown was stronger, and he took the lead into the passage. It was cramped and damp inside, and the sound of footsteps echoed off the walls. Suddenly, a cold mist surged up, and a phantom appeared in front of my eyes. The twisted shadow rushed towards me like a ghost, and a low whisper sounded in my ears. Leave, this is not the place you should come. Zixuan took a step back in fright, his head buzzing. Fear was like ice water on top, and he wanted to scream and run away. But the voices of his companions pulled him back. Xiaolan shouted, Zixuan, don't panic. This may be a hallucination mechanism. Gao Xiang's scanner beeped, the temperature is normal, no entity. Zixuan closed his eyes and forced himself to take a deep breath. The inner monologue is churning, don't be afraid, this is not true. Think about the logic, shadows are not real, sounds are echoes, and fog is a natural phenomenon in the passage. It must be a trap designed by the ruins to deter intruders. He opened his eyes and analyzed calmly, don't move, everyone. This phantom is an illusion caused by light, shadow and sound waves. Look, the shadow does not touch us, the sound is reflected by the wall. If you move forward, it will disappear. He took a big step, and sure enough, the phantom faded away like smoke. The friends followed and Xiaolan patted him on the shoulder. Awesome, newcomer. This is the thinking of a detective. Gao Xiang nodded, from fear to rationality. Zixuan, you have made rapid progress. Even Li Chang muttered, not bad. At the end of the passage, there was a piece of yellowed paper lying in a small groove, a fragment of an ancient map, with the campus outline and symbols drawn on it, marking the next portal in the gymnasium. Zixuan picked it up, his fingers felt rough as if worn by years, and a warm current surged in his heart. This is the starting point, I am no longer a bystander. Xiaolan put away the map with a firm look in her eyes. This fragment is the key, we have to track it down. Zixuan, are you ready to continue the adventure? Gao Xiang adjusted the equipment. Although Li Chang was reluctant, he nodded, okay, let's see what is hidden in this ruins. Zixuan smiled, feeling full of excitement and responsibility. Yes, let's solve this mystery together. Outside the passage, night has fallen, the campus lights are dim, and their footsteps echo in the twilight, indicating that a greater secret is about to be revealed. As night fell, the campus streetlights cast an orange halo, and the smell of dew during the day still lingered on the lawn outside the library. Zixuan held the yellowed map fragment, and his fingers could still feel the rough edges of the paper, like ancient secrets gnawed by time. When the four of them crawled out of the passage, the air was filled with the smell of earth and mold, mixed with the aroma of food from the canteen in the distance, bringing this fantasy moment back to reality. Xiaolan's words still echoed in his ears. "Zixuan, are you ready to continue taking risks?" He nodded, feeling as excited as chicken blood in his heart, but also with a little more weight of responsibility. They didn't dare to stay longer and hurried back to the activity room of the detective agency. It was a small storage room on the top floor of the teaching building, with a crooked sign hanging on the door saying "Detective Agency, the truth is waiting for you." The lights inside were dim, the walls were covered with campus maps and newspaper clippings, and the air was filled with the salty aroma of instant noodles and the dusty smell of old paper. As soon as Gao Xiang entered the door, he rushed to the table and unfolded his laptop. The blue light of the screen reflected on his glasses. "Come on, scan the map fragments for me. The ink in this thing has fluorescent components, it must be an ancient formula." Zixuan handed over the fragments, while Xiaolan pulled out a stack of old-school newspapers from the bookshelf, her eyes shining like an intelligence expert. "I dug up some information last night. The old school building of this school was built on the back hillside. It was the ruins of a small temple during the Republic of China. Legend has it that there is a hidden door there that can lead to underground ruins. Look at the symbols on this fragment, it looks like a door pattern, and the marked direction corresponds to the east wall of the old school building." She pointed to the map, her voice was brisk but professional. "The gateway to the sea of books has opened, and the next stop is the threshold of the old house." Gao Xiang's scanner buzzed, and an enlarged image appeared on the screen. Yes, the symbol is in anciently style, translated into modern words: "Certificate holder, push away the dust." There is a sensor slot at the door of the old school building. I checked it last time. On the surface, it looks like a dilapidated wooden door, but there is a metal structure underneath. It is technically feasible. Li Chang leaned against the door, arms crossed, the mockery on his face still lingering. "You guys are so idle. The club is recruiting new members tomorrow, and I have already posted on the forum, the detective agency is causing trouble again. They directed and staged the haunting in the library. Who believes in your relics? Zixuan, don't be deceived as a newcomer. What kind of magic is triggered by swiping your card? It sounds like a bad joke in an urban legend." His words were like a thorn, which made Zixuan's heart tighten. The whispers among the surrounding classmates have spread, and some people are even pointing in the corridor, which makes the club's investigation seem to be thrown into the quagmire of gossip. Zixuan took a deep breath, and the phantom in the passage flashed in his mind. The transformation from fear to rationality made him no longer the guy who was hiding under the covers and gossiping last night. He stood up straight, stared at Li Chang, and said in a steady but powerful voice, "Li Chang, you can spread rumors as much as you like, but the facts are in front of you. This fragment was not fabricated by us. Do you want to see Gao Xiang's scan data?" The library bookshelf did move, and all four pairs of our eyes saw it. Questioning the club? Then you come and try, join the investigation, or continue to be a keyboard warrior outside. As soon as the words came out, the room fell silent. Xiaolan blinked and raised the corners of his mouth. Gao Xiang pushed up his glasses and smiled approvingly. Li Chang's expression changed slightly, and he snorted, "Okay, you have the guts. I'll see you in the old school building tomorrow and see how you make a fool of yourself." He turned and left, and the door slammed shut, leaving an echoing sound. At that moment, a warm current surged in Zixuan's heart. In the past, I always isolated myself, hiding on the edge and watching the excitement, but now I have the support of my friends, which feels really good. It is not a battle of one person, but the trust of the team. He turned to everyone and smiled tentatively. "Let's go to the old school building and prove it to him." Xiaolan patted him on the shoulder and said relaxedly, "What a new leader. Let's go and take advantage of the night." The old school building is crowded during the day. Gao Xiang packed up the equipment and said excitedly, I brought night vision goggles and electromagnetic detectors to ensure everything is safe. The old school building is on the edge of the campus, hidden behind a dense bamboo forest. The night wind blows and the bamboo leaves rustle like countless whispering ghosts. The air is cool and mingled with the moist smell of earth and wild flowers. They pushed open the rusty iron gate and stepped on the gravel road. The creaking sound was particularly harsh in the silence. The old school building was a two-story wooden building with mottled walls and dusty windows. The moonlight filtered in and cast long shadows. Under the east wall, an inconspicuous wooden door was ajar, with a faint groove on the door frame, like a scar left by the years. This is it, Xiaolan whispered, illuminating the map with the light of a flashlight. Zixuan, try swiping your card. Remember, last time it was the bookshelf, this time it's the door. The mechanism may be more sensitive. Zixuan nodded, his heart beating like a drum. He took out his student ID card, and the card shone slightly in the moonlight. The friends took a few steps back. Gao Xiang's detector was already beeping. The magnetic field is stable and ready to be triggered. Zixuan put the card close to the groove, there was a familiar beep sound, and a green light flashed. The door panel made a low roar, like a sleeping giant waking up. The wooden door slowly slid inwards, revealing a narrow hallway. It was dark inside, and the air smelled of stale dust, mixed with a faint scent of spices, like the aftertaste of incense. Successful, Gao Xiang whispered, his eyes shining brightly. But the joy didn't last long. The moment the door opened, a sharp sound of wind rushed out from the depths of the porch, like an invisible arrow hitting the face. The floor suddenly trembled, and several hidden iron thorns protruded from the wall. The sharp edges flashed under the flashlight and pierced directly under their feet. Zixuan instinctively retreated, his head buzzing. Trap. This is a defense mechanism, more dangerous than the phantom. Gao Xiang's detector blared wildly, alarm. The pressure plate is triggered. The iron thorns will shrink but pierce the ground first. Fear surged in like a tide, and Zixuan's legs became half weak. The inner monologue is urgent, don't panic, you cracked the phantom last time, you can do it this time too. Look at the trajectory of the iron thorns, they are not random stabs, but a fixed path. There is a stone platform at the end of the porch with runes carved on it, perhaps an unlocking point. But how to get there? At this moment, he caught a glimpse of a small object falling out of the crack in the wall next to the door, a copper amulet with fine runes engraved on its surface and cold tentacles, like a life-saving straw popping out of a mechanism. This is a clue. Zixuan picked it up, and his intuition flashed in his mind, talisman, protection. He yelled, everyone, don't move. The iron thorns are triggered by pressure. I'll try it with the amulet. Without waiting for a response, he took a deep breath, and his courage surged like fire. I'm no longer a coward, I'm a detective. He clutched the amulet and rushed into the doorway. The iron thorns roared towards him, grazing his sleeves, and the sound of tearing the fabric made his heart beat wildly. Zixuan raised the talisman forward, and the runes suddenly glowed, and an invisible barrier spread like water waves. The iron spikes hit it with a clanking sound, then bounced off and embedded themselves in the wall. Zixuan's sweat slid down his forehead and felt salty to the touch, but he didn't stop and rushed straight to the stone platform and pressed the amulet. After a pause, the iron thorns slowly retracted, and the porch returned to calm. Zixuan. Are you crazy? Xiaolan rushed in and supported him, her voice full of worry but with a smile. So handsome, this courage, I was stunned. Gao Xiang followed and scanned the talisman. Wow, the rune is a protective spell, an ancient energy field, which can neutralize mechanisms. Zixuan, your instincts are at the level of a detective. Li Chang stood at the door with complicated eyes. Humph, just good luck. But, this talisman did decode the trap. Maybe I was wrong, this ruins is not a joke. Zixuan gasped and leaned against the wall, feeling a sense of accomplishment in his heart. From being isolated to this point, I learned to rely on my partners and dare to face danger. Detectives are not geniuses, they grow up in crisis. Gao Xiang continued to scan, and an interpretation appeared on the screen. The amulet is marked Guardian's Shield, pointing to the core of the ruins, not a tomb, but an ancient scholar's library, which contains forbidden knowledge. According to legend, this knowledge can change the fate of the campus, but it also leads to a curse. Xiaolan frowned and said softly, "The deeper secret. This is not just an adventure, but also a crisis. Zixuan, we have to be careful. The next clue may be in the gymnasium, but this amulet is the key." Zixuan nodded and held the amulet tightly. The moonlight poured in through the broken window and illuminated their faces. Outside the bamboo forest, the campus bell rang faintly, indicating that a greater mystery was quietly approaching. Deep inside the porch of the old school building, the air became increasingly muggy, like a breath suffocated by time. Zixuan held the copper amulet. The runes were slightly hot under the light of the flashlight, as if there were still residual warmth from the iron thorns that had just been dissolved. The moonlight slanted in from the broken window, illuminating a stone step at the end of the porch. The steps extended downward, and the wet moss made a sticky friction sound under the footsteps. Xiaolan walked in the front, the old map fragment in her hand turned yellow under the light. She turned around and whispered, "This passage is the secondary entrance to the ruins. According to the information I dug out from the school history archives, this was originally an underground library during the Republic of China, used to hide banned books. The background of the ancient magic ruins is not simple. Legend has it that under the campus is a hermit scholar's cave from the Eastern Zhou dynasty. Mansion, he sealed the knowledge with a spell to avoid war and destruction. But later, these institutions were transformed into defense systems, student ID cards. Hey, they might be modern carriers. Think about it, in ancient times the key was a jade pendant or amulet. Now the student ID card issued by the school has an RFID chip. When the magnetic field is applied, it is triggered. Zixuan, your card is simply the key to the chosen one." Her words were like a breath of fresh air, which eased Zixuan's tension. He followed, and the low hum of electronic devices came from Gao Xiang's backpack, like the accompaniment of a heartbeat. "Yes, Sister Xiaolan's information is always accurate." Gao Xiang pushed up his glasses and scanned the wall as he walked. "There's energy residue on these stone steps. The ancient runes use the principle of yin and yang and the 5 elements. The electromagnetic waves of the student ID card just neutralize it. It's so cool. This fusion of technology and magic feels like playing an RPG game, but in real life." Zixuan smiled, but his heart was churning. From the accident in the library to the current underground adventure, I have changed. Not the guy who only gossips, but actually takes action. The sense of responsibility is as heavy as a talisman. The passage is narrow, the walls are covered with vines, and the tentacles are slippery and cold. The air is filled with a mixed smell of earth and mildew, occasionally mixed with a faint scent of ink, which reminds people of memories and stacks of old books. Their footsteps echoed on the stone steps, like a whispered version of the school bell. Xiaolan shared more as she walked. These ruins were not built casually. The scholar is called Xianinzi. According to unofficial history, he foresaw the change of dynasties and used a magic bookshelf to seal the scroll of heaven, a book that can predict disasters. But a curse followed. Only the pure-hearted guardian can open it, otherwise, the campus will be shadowed, that is, the dark force will swallow everything. It sounds like a school ghost story, but we've proven it's true. Gao Xiang nodded. Yes, the data supports it. The magnetic field pattern matches the ancient formation, the student ID card is a bridge, and modern technology awakens the old magic. As Zixuan listened, daily scenes of the campus emerged in his mind, the sound of basketball on the playground, the hawking in the cafeteria. Who would have thought that such a secret was hidden underneath? They walked for about 10 minutes, when the end of the stone steps suddenly opened up, and an underground room came into view. The room was not big, with rough stone brick walls and a row of low bookshelves in the center. The shelves were empty except for dust and cobwebs. The air was getting colder, like the cold air coming from the ground. When the flashlight light was swept, there were a few cracks in the corners of the wall, and a faint light showed through. This is the secondary library. Xiaolan whispered, it's marked transformation rack on the map. Zixuan, try your golden finger. Zixuan nodded, his heart beating faster. He approached the bookshelf. The surface of the wood was carved with fine runes and felt as rough as old tree bark. The student ID card felt slightly warm in his hand. He took a deep breath and put the card close to the hidden slot at the bottom of the shelf. There was a crisp beep sound, and green light spread along the runes, like green vines climbing over the bookshelf. The entire shelf made a low creaking sound and slowly deformed. The shelves folded to both sides, revealing a hidden compartment. Inside lay a yellow diary, with vague ink paintings on the cover, like the figures of ancient scholars. The air was suddenly filled with the scent of old paper and ink, mixed with the faint scent of sandalwood, making people think of an ancient room with flickering candlelight. The third clue! Gao Xiang excitedly rushed over and carefully took out the diary. This thing is encrypted. The page has invisible ink. Only ultraviolet light can show it. I will crack it. He took out a small ultraviolet lamp from his backpack and scanned the page. The words appeared like ghosts. Xiaolan came closer and read aloud, I am a descendant of Zunyinzi, guarding the secret scroll of heaven. The campus was built on the ruins, and the student's certificate is the incarnation of the key. Those who hold it must have a straight heart. Wow, this is the story of the Guardian. It records how to avoid the mechanism of shadow bite. Zixuan turned over a few pages, feeling awe in his heart. This is not just an adventure, but a continuation of history. My hands are touching. Just as they were immersed, a faint sound of footsteps came from the passage. Zixuan turned around alertly, his flashlight swept into the shadows, and a figure flashed, Li Chang. He was wearing a hood, holding a mobile phone in his hand to take secret photos, his face full of secret joy. Why, are you here? Xiaolan frowned, and Gao Xiang's light illuminated his face. Li Chang's disguise was instantly broken. There was a familiar sarcastic expression under the hood, but his eyes were averted, and the phone in his hand was still recording. Ha, I got caught. Li Chang shrugged and tried to pretend to be innocent. I was just curious and came to see your tricks. Who knew this diary really existed? I posted a post to prove that the club was directing and acting on its own, and the traffic exploded. He stepped forward and wanted to snatch the diary. Gao Xiang blocked it. Hey, this is our discovery. Your behavior of stealing clues is too much. Xiaolan grabbed Gao Xiang and said, Li Chang, you came from the bamboo forest just for this? The club is not a game, and your post has already caused us to be suspected. Zixuan's heart tightened, and he wanted to rush forward to argue, but the iron thorns in the passage flashed in his mind, the danger of blind movement. He stopped, took a deep breath, and observed Li Chang. His eyes wandered, his fingers clenched on the phone, and his steps were unsteady. This was not a mockery of confidence, but a guilty conscience. Logic fits together like a jigsaw puzzle. He posted a post to spread rumors, but followed him in person to prove that he didn't believe in the legend? No, he was afraid of missing the truth and wanted to take all the credit. In the past, I would argue directly, but now I have to be more strategic. Li Chang, stop. Zixuan said calmly, his voice echoing in the room, do you think that secretly filming the diary can prove that we are fake? But you ignored the details. The soil on your shoes is fresh from the bamboo forest, which proves that you just followed. Recording on your phone? But the background noise has the echo of our footsteps, and the timestamp does not match. You edited it afterwards, right? If you really want to expose it, why don't you join in openly? Stealing will only turn you from a competitor into a thief. Li Chang was stunned, his phone slipped half an inch, and his face turned pale. How, do you know? Gao Xiang blinked. Zixuan, your reasoning is awesome. Xiaolan nodded. Yes, he is right. Li Chang, join us. This ruins cannot be solved by one person. Li Chang lowered his head and murmured, I was just afraid that the club would steal the limelight. Okay, I was wrong. I didn't post anything. But I helped to keep this diary. The conflict was resolved surprisingly smoothly, and Zixuan's inner monologue continued, from being impulsive to being calm and analytical, I am growing. It's not about relying on brute force, it's about using your brain to understand people's hearts. This is the transformation of the detective. Gao Xiang continued to decipher the diary, and under ultraviolet light, a prophecy appeared on the last page. The shadow bite is coming, the campus will be plunged into darkness, knowledge will be leaked, and students will have inner demons. Unless the guardians collect the 5 keys and open the secret volume, disaster will engulf them. The room suddenly became cold, and the chill of the prophecy seeped out of the pages. Xiaolan took a breath. Campus crisis? This is not a ghost story, it is a real prophecy. Shadow bite may refer to mental pollution, students are under great pressure, and there are rumors of an increase in self-harm incidents. Gao Xiang's face turned pale, the data matched, the electromagnetic field on campus has been abnormal recently, like a curse has been activated. Li Chang swallowed, damn, it's so serious? We have to hurry up. Zixuan stared at the diary, his palms sweating, and the pressure of the truth came like a mountain. This is not just about solving a mystery, it is about saving the campus. Fear welled up, I am a high school student, can I bear it? The inner monologue was churning, but thinking about my partners, Xiaolan's intelligence, Gao Xiang's technology, Li Chang's potential, I am not alone. Responsibility is not a burden, it is the source of courage. He raised his head and said in a firm voice, we can't stop. The 5 keys, the first is the door to the sea of books, the second is the threshold of the old house, and the third is this diary. The next one mentioned in the diary is in the gymnasium, let's go there. Teamwork, Xiaolan digs background, Gao Xiang breaks the technology, I swipe the card to open the way, Li Chang, you are responsible for guarding, don't make any small moves. Everyone nodded, with a hint of understanding in their eyes. The dim light in the room penetrated through the cracks, like the dawn of hope. They put away their diaries and turned towards the passage. The series of mysteries became denser and denser like a spider web, and the shadow of the gymnasium was quietly approaching. It was already dark when they crawled out of the old school building from the underground library. The street lights on campus cast long shadows, and the wind in the bamboo forest chased them like a whisper, mixed with the faint laughter coming from the dormitory in the distance. Zixuan still held the diary in his hand, and the edges of the pages were slightly curled, as if to remind him of the weight of the prophecy, shadow bite, campus crisis, and the gathering of the 5 keys. This was not a plot in a comic, it was real, and it made his chest feel tight. Xiaolan walked in front and whispered as he walked, the 4th key of the diary points to the sports field, which must be the gymnasium. The rune describes crystal of earth veins, which sounds like an energy source. We will act early tomorrow morning, it is too dangerous at night. Gao Xiang caught up with breath, and the equipment in his backpack jingled, yes, I have to modify Zixuan's student ID card first. When I painted the old school building last time, the magnetic field feedback was a bit unstable. If the energy leaks, the card may be burned out. Give me an hour to finish it in the club room. Li Chang walked at the end, his face still showing the embarrassment of being persuaded just now. He cleared his throat, trying to regain his rhythm. I'm in charge of the security. Who knows if anyone else is eyeing this ruins? The campus forum has already exploded. Some people said that the haunting of the library is a trick of the club. The post I posted, has been withdrawn. Zixuan glanced at him and felt relieved. This guy has changed from an opponent to a teammate. Although it is awkward, it is better than fighting alone. The team's tacit understanding seeps in quietly like the night wind. Back in the detective agency's activity room, the lights were on, and the aftertaste of instant noodles still lingered in the air. Gao Xiang sat down, unfolded the toolbox, and placed his student ID card on the workbench, like a small operation. Come on, Zixuan, give me the card. Add a stable circuit and use my homemade capacitor to amplify the RFID signal but prevent overload. Ancient magic meets modern technology, it's perfect. He said while welding wires, sparks flickered, and the air was filled with the smell of hot metal. Zixuan took a closer look, and curiosity arose in his heart. I used to only play with mobile phones, but now I am participating in this cross-generational thing. This feels like an upgrade. Xiaolan was not idle. She opened her laptop and the sound of typing on the keyboard was like raindrops. I'm going to dig up eyewitness reports. On campus apps and forums, weird things have been happening in the gym recently. Some people said that the ground was hot to the feet when running, the basketball hoop shook inexplicably, and students dreamed that there were light veins pulsing underground. These signs match the diary. The energy of the ruins is leaking. Xianingzi's seal is loosening, a sign of shadow bite. She turned the screen to show everyone, and a bunch of anonymous posts popped up. At the back door of the gymnasium, I saw a green light flickering last night, like a will-o'-the-wisp. I heard a low hum, like the ground was breathing. Li Chan came over and said with a frown, "These people love to make up stories. But, what if it really leaks out and something happens to the campus? We have to hurry." His tone was less mocking and more worried, which surprised Zixuan. This guy also has a passionate side. After the modification was completed, Gao Xiang handed back his student ID card. There was a thin protective shell on the surface of the card, with blue light shining on the edge. It has been tested and the stability has been improved by 30%. Tomorrow, when we clean the entrance of the gymnasium, it is expected to trigger the ground pattern. The diary says crystal light reflects the Earth's veins. Everyone nodded, tired and excited. Zixuan put away the card and had a brief but profound inner monologue. From doubting that all this was an illusion to now trusting my own intuition, I am getting stronger. It's not about genius, it's about partners and logic. At noon the next day, the sun was dazzling, and students were playing ball on the playground outside the gymnasium. The muffled sound of the basketball hitting the ground and the cheers intertwined into a lively atmosphere. The green smell of lawn and the salty smell of sweat floated in the air, and no one noticed the 4 people from the detective agency sneaking around to the back door. It was a remote corner, the iron door was rusty, the doorway was paved with old tiles, and there was a faint crack that spread like a spider web. Xiaolan whispered, "The eyewitness reports are concentrated here. The energy leakage starts from the earth veins. Swiping the card can activate the pattern and take out the crystal fragments, the 4th key, which can amplify the magic effect and stabilize the ruins." Gao Xiang's scanner was already buzzing. The magnetic field is abnormal and there is a pulsation underground. "Get ready, Zixuan." Li Chan looked around, holding the phone in his hand. "I'll keep an eye on it, in case there is an outsider." Zixuan took a deep breath and put the modified student ID card close to the hidden sensing point at the door. The card hummed, and green light spread along the cracks, crawling like green veins on the ground. Suddenly, the entire tile area lit up, and a rune pattern emerged, a circular formation with lines like an ancient star map, emitting a soft blue light. The air trembled, and the ground was slightly hot, mixed with a cool mineral smell that gushes out from the cracks. "Success!" Xiaolan shouted excitedly, "The pattern is a ley line map, and fragments will pop up in the center." Gao Xiang's instrument flashed crazily, energy peak, stable. But the joy came to an abrupt end. A burst of mist sprang up from the pattern, and the world suddenly distorted. Zixuan's eyes blurred. The noise of the playground turned into gloomy ruins, the faces of his friends turned into twisted ghosts, and Xiaolan's voice turned into a sharp ridicule. "Zixuan, you think you are a hero? This is all your delusion." Gao Xiang's scanner turned into a chain and wrapped around his ankle. Li Chang's shadow lengthened and turned into a man in black robes, whispering, "Join us and destroy the ruins, or you will die." Hallucinations came like a flood, his heart beat wildly, and sweat slid down his back, feeling icy cold to the touch. Zixuan took a step back, his mind buzzing. Is this a mechanism? No, it's more insidious than an iron thorn, it's a spiritual attack. He shook his head, trying to clear his thoughts. The inner monologue is like lightning. In the past, I would collapse and wonder if I was crazy. But for now, trust your gut, look at the details. The edges of ghost images are blurred, sounds echo, the ground pattern still glows, and the true blue light remains unchanged. The hallucinations are a side effect of an energy leak, perhaps someone is controlling it. Fake. Zixuan yelled, his voice echoing in the illusion. Xiaolan, your eyes are smiling, not sarcastic. Gao Xiang, the chains have no warmth, they are a trick of light and shadow. Li Chang, you have never worn a black robe, this is your fear projection. He rushed forward and grabbed Xiaolan's arm. It felt hollow and dissipated into smoke. In the center of the pattern, a crystal shard pops out, blue light blooms, and the illusion disintegrates like broken glass. Reality returned, and the friends rubbed their eyes and stood firm. Xiaolan gasped, "Oh my God, that hallucination was so real. I saw myself being swallowed up by the ruins." Zixuan, how did you identify it? Gao Xiang checked the instrument. There is an interference signal in the energy waveform. It is not a natural leak. It is controlled remotely. Li Chang's face was ashen. He lowered his head to avoid looking. His phone fell to the ground, and a strange app, Phantom Jammer, flashed on the screen. You! Zixuan stared at him, his voice calm but sharp. Li Chang, is this your trick? Who are you joining forces with? Unknown forces? The man in black robe just now is a projection of your heart. Do you think you can keep secrets by blocking us? Li Chang swallowed his saliva and finally collapsed. I received an anonymous message saying that the club will destroy the campus, and asked me to use this app to create illusions in exchange for clues to the ruins. They are an outside club, focusing on the knowledge of the Tianji volume, and want to break it. Bad seal for profit. I thought it was just a small obstacle. I'm sorry, I was wrong. Xiaolan patted him on the shoulder. Idiot, let's be clear now. We are a team. Gao Xiang picked up the phone and quickly closed the app. This thing uses Bluetooth to interfere with the magnetic field. Fortunately, Zixuan broke it. That's a slap in the face. Li Chang, you owe us a midnight snack. Zixuan smiled, and a warm current surged in his heart. From doubting that I was redundant to trusting my intuition to reverse the conspiracy, I became tougher. This is not luck, it is proof of growth. The path of a detective is full of traps, but if you have a partner, you won't be afraid. Zixuan bent down and picked up the crystal fragment. It felt as cool as ice jade, and blue light flowed inside, like a living pulse. He brought it close to the student ID card, and the fragments suddenly resonated. Green light and blue light blended, and new runes appeared on the surface of the card. Wow, the amplification effect of this fragment. Gao Xiang scanned excitedly. The magic intensity is doubled, which can stabilize the next mechanism. Xiaolan nodded. The diary said that the 5 keys must be gathered together to open the core. But activating the fragment will. Before he could finish his words, the ground suddenly shook. The light of the pattern skyrocketed, like an underground volcano erupting. The tiles around the gymnasium cracked, fine stone chips flew, and the air was filled with the choking smell of dust. A small earthquake struck, the entire playground trembled, the basketball stand in the distance shook, and students screamed and scattered. There's an earthquake! Run! Li Chang shouted, pulling up Gao Xiang. Xiaolan stumbled, and Zixuan instinctively rushed forward, hugged her waist, and held the crystal tightly with the other hand. This way! The edge of the pattern is stable, he yelled, leadership emerging like instinct. The inner monologue is urgent, responsibility is not to escape, but to protect everyone. I used to take care of myself first, but not now. They rushed out of the pattern area. The earthquake lasted for 10 seconds, and cracks in the ground spread like snakes. However, the blue light of the crystal slowly suppressed the vibration, and the fragments spread energy like a shield. Zixuan pressed it back into the pattern, the tremors gradually stopped, and the playground returned to calm, with only the students' exclamations and the teacher's comforting voice remaining. Everyone gasped and leaned against the iron door, sweat mixed with dust, but with smiles on their faces after the disaster. Xiaolan pushed Zixuan away and said with a blush, "Thank you, hero. Your reaction saved us." Gao Xiang wiped his glasses, perfect marks for leadership. The crystal not only amplifies, but also controls shock. Li Chang lowered his head. Zixuan, I will listen to you from now on. Then. These unknown forces are probably the villains brought in by the soaring machine. They want to destroy the ruins, release the shadow bite, and sell the knowledge to the black market. Zixuan nodded, holding the fragments tightly, and his heart was full of responsibility. From a timid newcomer to the tough detective I am transforming. Friendship and crisis make me stronger. As the sun set and the shadows of the gymnasium lengthened, they slipped back into the clubroom. On the phone, Li Chang's old posts have been deleted, but a new message pops up: anonymous, you broke the plan, and the ruins will be destroyed. The tension is shrouded like a cloud, and the villain's intention is clear: destroy the seal and release disaster. Zixuan stared at the crystal, blue light reflected in his eyes. Where's the fifth key? We have to get ahead of them. The friends nodded, and the campus bell rang, indicating that a bigger storm was coming. The lights in the clubroom were dim, reflecting the crystal fragments on the table. The blue light beat gently like a pulse, like a living creature breathing. Zixuan's fingers gently stroked its surface, and the coolness seeped into his skin, accompanied by a buzzing vibration that made him shiver involuntarily. The afterglow of the sunset spilled in through the gaps in the curtains, and the campus bells still echoed in my ears, like an urging whisper. Xiaolan leaned on the back of the chair and rubbed her temples. The sharpness of the intelligence expert on her face had not faded. This crystal is not simple. It is not a static key, but an energy center. The crystal of earth veins mentioned in the diary can connect the 5 elements of the ruins. We have 4 keys: sea of books, old house, diary, crystal, and the 5th one must be the core catalyst. Gao Xiang has rushed to the workbench, the tools are clanging, and the smell of hot metal and burnt circuits is filling the air. He pushed up his glasses and said excitedly, "Yes, I'll upgrade the equipment. First, scan the fluctuations of the crystal." His scanner buzzed, and a graph popped up on the screen, with green lines undulating like an electrocardiogram. The energy frequency is a variation of ancient runes, matching the yin and yang veins of the Eastern Zhou dynasty. But the fluctuations have been unstable recently, as if someone is interfering. Remember Li Chang's mobile app? Those unknown forces may have bigger moves. Add a filter for me, which can detect remote signals. Zixuan nodded, feeling a little uneasy in his heart. From the earthquake in the gymnasium to the current fluctuations, this ruins is like a living trap, and we have to get ahead of the villains. Li Chang sat in the corner, holding his knees with his hands, his face still showing the embarrassment of his collapse just now. He muttered in a low voice, I deleted all the contacts. The app they gave me was a black market product and said it could control phantoms in exchange for information. I thought it was just a trick, but I didn't expect it would cause an earthquake. Xiaolan glanced at him and softened her tone. Idiot, just make it clear now. We are a team, stop hiding it. Li Chang nodded and his eyes flashed. Okay, I will be on guard. But those people, they are focusing on the Tianji scroll, saying that it is a lost prophecy that can control people's hearts. If sold to companies or politicians, it is worth a lot of money. Gao Xiang snorted, it's worth it. Releasing the shadow bite will destroy the campus. Zixuan, your student ID card plus crystals can probably reach the core. Xiaolan suddenly straightened up, pulled out an old map from his laptop, and projected it on the wall. The campus has a clear outline, with a red circle lit in the center, the bell tower. This is the location of the 5th key. According to the school history files, the bell tower was built in the early Republic of China and is the guardian tower of the ruins. Xianingzi used it to seal the Tianji scroll. There is a hidden bookshelf under the bell tower. When triggered, a blueprint will be revealed marking all the guardian agencies. It indicates a greater crisis. If the 5 keys are not in order, the shadow bite will explode from the bell tower. As a result, mental pollution spreads, students will experience collective hallucinations, and self-destructive tendencies intensify. There have been hints of this in recent forum posts. Some people said that they dreamed of darkness swallowing up the campus. She paused, her eyes serious. Sneak in tonight. The bell tower will be locked at night, but we have Gao Xiang's unlocker. Zixuan, your golden finger is the key. Zixuan's heartbeat accelerated, and his inner monologue was like a flood. From the accident in the library to the active layout now, I am no longer a follower who passively solves puzzles. It's my responsibility to protect everyone. The bell rang again, like a summons, and they packed their bags and slipped out of the clubroom. The night is dark, the campus streetlights cast an orange halo, and the wind rustles the leaves, mixed with the whispers of dormitories in the distance. The bell tower stands in the center of the campus, as tall as a watchman. The tower is covered with vines, and the air is filled with the stale smell of bell iron and the moisture of night dew. They walked around to the back door, Gao Xiang's unlocker beeped, and the door lock popped open easily. "Go in, don't make a sound." Li Chang whispered, this time his vigilance was serious, looking around like a sentry. The interior of the bell tower is narrow, and the spiral staircase spirals upward. The sound of footsteps echoes between the stone walls, like the echo of the heartbeat. The air was cool, mingled with dust and the scent of candles. On the top floor is a circular clock room, with a huge clock dial shining in the moonlight. There is a row of low bookshelves along the wall. The surface of the wood is covered with runes and feels rough like ancient skin. Xiaolan whispered, "This is it." The diary said that if you swipe the card on the base of the clock stand, you can rotate the bookshelf. Zixuan took out his student ID card. Crystal fragments were embedded on the side of the card, and blue and green lights blended together. He took a deep breath and pressed it close to the groove of the base. With a beep sound, green light sprang up, and the bookshelf made a low roar, like gears waking up. The shelf rotated slowly, and a secret door opened in the wall, revealing a scroll, a yellowed blueprint of the ruins with fine lines marking underground passages, trap points and guardian runes, with the outline of the Tianji scroll in the center. The fifth key. The blueprint is complete. Gao Xiang rushed over, unfolded it carefully, and scanned the screen simultaneously. This is the whole picture. The gate of the ruins is underground in the bell tower. There are 3 levels of guardianship: Phantom, Iron Thorn, and Spiritual Beast. If the villain wants to destroy this place, he can release the Shadow Bite. Xiaolan's eyes lit up. We can reverse the situation and gather the 5 keys to open the secret volume and resolve the crisis. Zixuan held the blueprint, the paper felt dry to the touch, and he felt accomplished in his heart. This is the last piece of the puzzle. I have changed from a newcomer to a core. But the joy was shattered instantly. Li Chang suddenly moved. He jumped out of the shadows and grabbed the edge of the blueprint. His eyes were twisted like a beast. "Give it to me. Those people contacted me and said that the blueprint can be exchanged for a lot of money. I can't be a supporting role anymore." His hand was so strong that Gao Xiang's scanner was knocked away and fell to the ground with a clang. Xiaolan screamed, "Li Chang, are you crazy?" Zixuan instinctively retreated, but the lines of the blueprint flashed in his mind, the prediction map of the Guardian Agency. There was a rune-marked human heart trap, and the location was right at the door of the bell room. Blueprints are not just maps, they are prophecy tools. He caught a glimpse of Li Chang's footsteps, rushing straight to the secret door, avoiding the shadow of the clock dial, as if he had a plan in advance. The first turning point was like a flash of lightning. Zixuan yelled, "Stop! The blueprint shows that your path will trigger the human heart mechanism. It reads the inner fear and bounces it back to you." Li Chang was stunned for half a second and stepped into the shadow area. In an instant, the air in the bell room was distorted, and his phantom emerged. He was swallowed by the shadow, his friends turned into enemies and laughed at him, and his screams echoed. He stumbled back, the blueprint slipping from his hands. Zixuan stepped forward, caught him, and turned his defense into an offense. "Li Chang, do you think you can take it all by yourself? The blueprint predicted your greed. From the gem app to the current betrayal, they are all projections of your heart. Join us, or let fear destroy you." Li Chang collapsed on the ground, sweat sliding down his face, and he mumbled, I'm afraid of losing. Those people promised me to be the boss, but you're right, I was wrong." Xiaolan helped him up and whispered, "Fool, let's win together." Gao Xiang picked up the equipment and said with a smile, "Zixuan, this prediction is awesome. From passive puzzle solving to active layout, you have grown into an expert." Zixuan's inner monologue surged, In the past, I always responded to crises passively, but now I use blueprints to see people's hearts clearly. This is a transformation. Not brute force, but intelligent foresight. The friendship deepened at this moment. Li Chang's eyes changed from competition to dependence, and their tacit understanding was connected like the lines of a blueprint. But the crisis is not over. The moment the blueprint was unfolded, the bell chamber trembled, black mist poured out from the depths of the secret door, and a huge phantom condensed the guardian spirit beast. It looks like a giant wolf, with hair flowing like ink, eyes as red as blood, and a deafening roar. The air is filled with the burning smell of sulfur and the smell of beasts. The claws rushed forward and scraped across the floor, sending stone chips flying. The second turning point breaks out. Zixuan's heart is beating wildly, fear is like ice water pouring on him. This is more fierce than an iron thorn, it is a test of the soul. The inner monologue is urgent. Don't retreat, this is the moment to break through the barriers. From Phantom's timidity to his current courage, I have to take the lead. Cooperate. Zixuan shouted, Xiaolan, use intelligence to seduce. Gao Xiang, scan for weaknesses. Li Chang, guard the flanks. Xiaolan nodded and read from the blueprint, the spirit beast is weak with runes on its abdomen, phantom but with energy core. She threw out the diary, and the page flashed, attracting the beast's head. Gao Xiang's upgraded scanner locked on, abdominal pulsation, weak magnetic field, neutralize it with crystals. He handed over the fragments. Li Chang gritted his teeth and rushed forward, blocking the claw. I'll buy time. Zixuan held the crystal and student ID card tightly, blue and green light blended, and rushed towards the belly of the beast. The claw wind roared and tore his sleeves, and the pain was like fire, but he didn't stop, roaring in his heart, fear is an obstacle, step over it. He pressed the runes on the crystal, the energy exploded, the spirit beast howled, and the form disintegrated like smoke, turning into black mist and dissipating. The bell chamber returned to calm, leaving only the lingering sounds of breathing and heartbeat. Everyone collapsed on the ground, sweat mixed with dust. Xiaolan patted Zixuan on the back, you take the lead, we will follow. This courage, the team is stronger because of you. Gao Xiang checked the blueprint, repelled, the mechanism is unlocked. The blueprint points to the gate of the final ruins, deep underground in the bell tower, guarding the whole world. Yes, but we are all together. Li Chang bowed his head and apologized, thank you, Zixuan. My transformation from competition to partner is all because of you. Zixuan smiled, holding the blueprint, and his heart was full of warmth, breaking through fear, deepening friendship. This is the true meaning of detective. The moonlight shone in from the clock window, and the door runes on the blueprint flickered. They stood up, united as iron, and walked underground. The peak of the storm was close at hand. The underground passage of the bell tower is like a winding snake cave, and the air is filled with the smell of damp stone and the sulfuric aftertaste left after the spiritual beast dissipated just now. Zixuan held the blueprint tightly. The paper trembled slightly under the light of the flashlight, and the lines guided the front like veins. The four of them panted and followed at the end of the spiral staircase, their footsteps making a muffled echo on the slippery stone steps. The excitement of fighting off the spirit beasts had not faded, but the mark on the blueprint stunned everyone. This gate was not the end, but just a relay gate, leading to the water vein gate by the campus lake. Xiaolan frowned and whispered, Xianingzi's design is really insidious, with layers of levels. The blueprint shows that the lakeside is the extension point of the fifth key. We have to go there to integrate the clues, otherwise the core gate will not open. Gao Xiang wiped his sweat, and the equipment in his backpack jingled. Yes, the energy reading points to the bottom of the lake. Zixuan, your student ID card plus crystal is now a multifunctional key, but it needs to be optimized. Li Chang walked at the end, with the shadow of his collapse just now in his eyes. He murmured, I promise not to hide anything anymore. Those villains. I will make it clear. Zixuan nodded, feeling relieved. The team's trust is like a blueprint, connected together. Rushing out of the clockroom, they avoided the security guards on night patrol and slipped back into the clubroom. It's late at night, and the street lights on campus cast long shadows. The wind rustles through the leaves, like a whispering watchman. In the clubroom, the lights were on, and the 5 keys were scattered on the table: book fragments, old house amulet, diary, crystal, and blueprint. Xiaolan took a deep breath and unfolded all the items. Her voice was as clear and coherent as an intelligence expert. "Okay, everyone, listen. This is not a casual adventure, it is a complete legend." Xianxi was a hermit from the Eastern Zhou dynasty. He foresaw the war between Qin and Han dynasties, and he used magic to seal the Tianji volume, a book that records prophecies of disasters, which can control people's hearts and destiny. But knowledge is too dangerous. He built a cave on this hillside, integrating the 5 elements: sea of books, wood, old house, fire, diary, earth, crystal, gold, and blueprint, water. Above, the student ID card is a modern key, and the RFID magnetic field awakens the ancient charm. He sealed the campus to prevent disasters. Shadow Bite is the amplification of inner demons, causing soldiers to kill each other during wars, but now it is an outbreak of student stress, self-destruction, or collective panic. Those unknown forces want to destroy the seal, release the secret scroll, and sell it for money, causing chaos on campus. We have to gather the 5 keys and open the core to resolve the crisis. Her words were like pieces of a puzzle being settled. Zixuan listened with awe in his heart. This is not just solving a puzzle, it is protecting history. From being curious about new people to now understanding the big picture, I am changing. Gao Xiang was not idle. He rushed to the workbench, placed his student ID card in the center. The crystal was embedded in the card slot, and sparks flickered. "Optimize time," he said while welding. The rune scanning module with blueprint can now detect water vein energy. Stabilize the circuit to prevent overload, and become a multifunctional key: swipe card, energy shield, predict weaknesses, all in one. The air was filled with the smell of hot metal. Li Chang came closer to help hand over the tools, and said awkwardly, I know a bit about electronics and have hacked the forum server before." Xiaolan smiled, patted Zixuan on the shoulder. Her eyes were gentle and a little playful. "The newcomer has become an old bird. Your intuition has saved us several times. We will rely on you to take the lead in the operation at the lake." Zixuan's face was slightly hot, and he thought, this feels like the romance in a campus light novel. But when the crisis hit, he shook his head to get rid of distracting thoughts. "Let's go. There are few people around the lake during the day. Go early and come back early." By the campus lake, morning mist lingers, and the sun shines on the water, making the waves sparkle like broken silver. The air is fresh, mixed with the green smell of water plants and the moisture of earth, and the instructions for morning exercises can be heard from the playground in the distance, making this magical moment grounded. They hid behind a willow tree. There was a small dock next to the lake. The wooden piles were covered with moss and the water was as calm as a mirror. Blue map note: the entrance is under the stone monument in the center of the lake. Zixuan took out his optimized student ID card, and the blue-green light circulated on the surface of the card. He took a deep breath and had a brief inner monologue. The time has come for independent decision-making, from relying on everyone to making his own way. "I'll swipe." He walked closer to the water and pointed the card at the hidden rune point on the lake. The water rippled lightly, there was a low tick sound, and the green light spread like ripples. The water surface suddenly trembled like boiling, and a pillar of light floated in the center of the lake. In the mist, an ancient charm slowly rose up, as if it had broken free from time. The talisman is made of jade, with spiral patterns engraved on its surface. Its tentacles are as warm as a jade pendant, and a faint fragrance of time fills the air, like the tranquility of a pendulum paused. "The 6th clue." Xiaolan shouted excitedly. "This is not marked on the blueprint, but according to legend, there is a time guardian talisman that can temporarily suspend the mechanism to prevent villains from raiding." Gao Xiang rushed over and caught it carefully, his eyes shining. "Test. Embed the student ID card." He quickly integrated it. The talisman buzzed, and the card had an extra gold edge. Energy reading: pause the surrounding time for 5 seconds. Perfect. "Zixuan, this is your ultimate golden finger." Li Chang stood on the side with a gloomy expression. He suddenly spoke in a low voice, "Wait a minute. I have to confess." Everyone turned their heads, and he took out his mobile phone from his pocket. A strange message popped up on the screen: "Got the blueprint, attacked the lake, destroyed the spell." His hands trembled, and his eyes evaded. I have not completely disconnected. Those villains, it's an off-campus black market alliance that has been eyeing the Tianji volume for a long time. They threatened me, saying that if I didn't cooperate, they would expose my dark history, my past stealing of forum information. The message just now was an order. I have to launch an attack, otherwise they will destroy me. As soon as he finished speaking, 3 black figures sprang out from behind the willow tree by the lake, holding homemade electric shock sticks, buzzing, and rushed towards them. "Boys, hand over the talisman," the leading strongman roared, and the air was filled with the smell of electric ozone. The first turning point breaks out. Zixuan's heartbeat was like a drum, fear welled up in his mind, but Xiaolan's summary flashed in his mind: independent decision-making. "I used to call everyone for help, but not now." He shouted, "Gao Xiang, protect Xiaolan. Li Chang, block the left wing." Without waiting for a response, he held his student ID card tightly, the golden talisman glowed, and pressed to activate. Time, stop. The world stopped for an instant, the black shadow's electric rod froze in midair, the water ripples froze, and the birdsong stopped abruptly. Within 5 seconds, Zixuan rushed forward, kicked away the leader's stick, grabbed the other person's communicator, and smashed it to the ground. Time resumed, the attackers were stunned, and the leader staggered back. "Why, the time is messed up." Zixuan stared at Li Chang calmly, his voice firm: "Your conspiracy has been exposed. Li Chang, from competition to betrayal, do you think you are selling us for peace? But the blueprint predicts the trap of people's hearts, and this attack is your fear projection, black history? Our team can help you sort it out. Join the righteous path, or become a traitor." Li Chang turned pale and knelt down. I was afraid of ruining my future. But you reversed course, and I was wrong. There are insiders in those alliances, spreading shadow bite omens on campus. The black shadow was trapped by Gao Xiang's electromagnetic net. He had prepared defenses. Xiaolan quickly called the police, and security arrived. Zixuan's heart surged with achievement. From team dependence to independent counterattack, this was the transformation of a master in crisis management. It's not luck, it's decisiveness. Xiaolan came closer and patted his arm, with a hint of tenderness in her eyes. "Zixuan, you were so handsome just now. Like a hero saving a beauty, saving a team." Her face was slightly red, Zixuan's heartbeat skipped a beat, and the hint of campus romance was like the gentle breeze of the lake. But the crisis was not over yet. Li Chang's communicator flickered with fragments, leaving a message: "The illusion at the bottom of the lake is activated, testing the guardians." The water surface rippled again, and under the stone monument in the center of the lake, a blue light portal emerged, and the suction force pulled them like a whirlpool. "This is the second test," Gao Xiang shouted, "the illusion of the blue icon at the bottom of the lake, the projection of inner fear. Only by breaking through can we be recognized and open the core path." The second turning point comes. They jumped into the portal, the water waves wrapped their bodies, the coolness was like silk threads, and the world turned into a lake-bottom illusion. In the boundless blue light, Zixuan was alone, and fearful illusions appeared around him. His companions turned into black shadows and laughed. "You are just a newcomer, holding you back." The campus collapsed, and Xiaolan's phantom sneered, "You are not worthy of this trust." The inner monologue surged, "Tide of fear, this is my weakness. I used to be timid, afraid of failure, afraid of loneliness. But now, I have grown." He closed his eyes and recalled the team's tacit understanding, Xiaolan's gentleness, Gao Xiang's skills, and Li Chang's regret. Courage shot up like fire. "Fake. You are my pillar, not a burden." He rushed to the core of the phantom, pressed his student ID card, and the golden light of the spell exploded, pausing the illusion for 3 seconds and tearing apart the projection. The blue light portal recognized it, and a mark of recognition appeared, a halo embedded in the crystal, doubling the energy. The illusion disintegrated and they emerged from the water, clambering onto the dock. Xiaolan gasped and shook the water with a smile. Breakthrough. Zixuan, your courage allowed the ruins to recognize us. Gao Xiang checked the equipment, the mark is activated, and the 5 keys are ready. The core gate is deep in the lake, but the villain alliance is known, and the tension has escalated. They will suppress the situation with all their troops. Li Chang stood up, with firm eyes. I atone for my sins and contact the mole. Zixuan held the optimization key tightly, blue light reflected on his face, and his heart was full of responsibility. From fear to breakthrough, this is the sign of an independent detective. The lake breeze blows, and the friends gather around. In the romantic morning light, they prepare to attack the core of the ruins. Halfway through the plot, the storm is getting ready. The lake breeze blew across the pier, mixed with the astringent smell of water plants and the moisture of morning mist, making Zixuan's wet clothes stick to his skin, making it feel bitingly cold. He held his optimized student ID card tightly, and the blue-green light pulsed slightly between his fingers, like the afterbeat of a heart. The afterglow of the illusion was still echoing in his mind, and those twisted sneers seemed to have just subsided. Xiaolan shook her hair, water droplets splashed, and she turned to everyone, her eyes firm but with a hint of exhaustion. The seal of approval has been activated, and the 5 keys are ready. But the blueprint shows that the core gate is deep under the lake, and the middle level is a maze passage. Be careful of the villain alliance. They will not give up. Gao Xiang gasped and checked his backpack. The equipment was full of water stains. My scanner is soaked in water. It's waterlogged and needs to be repaired. Zixuan, your key stabilizes the energy, let's sneak in first. Li Chang stood on the side, clenching his fists and speaking in a low voice. I contacted the insider and confirmed that their stronghold is in the abandoned warehouse outside the school. But don't believe me completely, I still owe you. Zixuan nodded, and there was a warmth in his heart. From suspicion to this step, the cracks in the team are being repaired. They didn't waste any time and took advantage of the morning fog to sneak into the bottom of the lake from the hidden stone steps beside the pier. The water waves wrap around the body like silk, the coolness penetrates into the bone marrow, and the muffled sound of water flow and the gurgling of bubbles can be heard in the ears. Zixuan took the lead, and the flashlight cut out beams of light in the blue sky. The walls were made of ancient stone bricks, covered with algae, and felt as smooth as snake scales. The channel at the bottom of the lake is narrow and the air is thin, mixed with the smell of rotten soil and rusty metal. After walking for about 10 minutes, the front suddenly opened up, and a stone arch appeared. The door was covered with runes, and the blue light pulsed like a living vein. Middle level of the ruins. Xiaolan whispered, pulling out the tablet from the waterproof bag, and the yellowed files lit up on the screen. I dug up more school history last night. This villain alliance is not a newbie, they are black market antique dealers, and they have been eyeing Xianxinzi's magical power for a long time. During the Republic of China, there was a rumor in the underground of this school that the Scroll of Heaven could control people's hearts, predict disasters, and sell them to warlords or companies, worth a sky-high price. The files show that the leader of the alliance is a guy named Shadow Fox who specializes in stealing energy from ruins. He has done something similar in other ancient ruins before, causing the village to collapse. They want to steal the power and sell it for money. Shadow Devour is just a byproduct. Her words were like ice water pouring over her head, and Zixuan's heart sank. Suddenly there was a hint of ozone smell of electricity in the air. Gao Xiang squatted beside the arch and took apart the damaged scanner. Water drops dripped along the circuit, making a sizzling sound. Damn, it ruined the motherboard. But I have spare parts. He said as he soldered wires, sparks flickering under the water, lighting up his focused face. Add a waterproof layer and upgrade energy detection, now it can detect remote interference. Sister Xiaolan, the Alliance's motives are clear. They probably use wireless signals to control the mechanism. We have to guard against it. Li Chang came closer, handed over a small screwdriver, and said in an awkward voice, I understand this. The insider said they have a pulse disruptor hidden in the maze that can disrupt the energy field. The information is, turn left 3 times and right twice in the passage to reach the bookshelf mechanism. But beware of the traps. Zixuan glanced at him and said nothing, thinking in his mind, half-ally. You have to be vigilant, but you also have to trust. He took a deep breath and pushed open the arch. Let's go, the team will follow. I will lead the way. The middle-level labyrinth unfolds like a spider web, with intertwined passages. The walls are made of rough stone bricks and covered with vague runes. The air is hot and humid, mixed with echoing whispers, like the whispers of ancient scholars. The sound of footsteps echoed around the bend, and occasionally water droplets hit the ground, making a particularly harsh sound. Zixuan took the lead and turned left 3 times and right twice according to Li Chang's information, taking every step carefully. The flashlight light swept across the corner, and the shadows stretched like ghosts. Xiaolan followed and shared in a low voice, "These passages are Xianinzi's trial, testing the sense of direction and determination." The campus lake was originally an ancient well. It was not dug deep when the school was built, and the ruins were hidden underneath. Gao Xiang's repair device buzzed, and the new scanning beam cut through the darkness. The energy is stable, but there is an abnormal pulse in front, something from the Alliance. Li Chang stood back, his eyes wandering. Yes, it's on the bookshelf in front. At the end of the passage, a towering wall suddenly appeared, with bookshelf-like grooves embedded in the surface. The wood-grain runes were faintly glowing and felt as rough as old tree bark. The air was filled with the scent of old paper and ink. Zixuan took out his student ID card. Crystals and talismans were intertwined, and blue, green and gold light intertwined. He put the card close to the hidden slot at the bottom of the wall. There was a clear click sound, and green light climbed all over the wall like vines. The bookshelf made a low creak and slowly deformed. The shelf folded inward, revealing a hidden compartment. There is a stone slab lying inside, with the energy core diagram engraved on the surface, spiral lines like veins, with a lock-shaped rune in the center, marked Gate Password, Reversal of 5 Elements, Guardian Heart. Zixuan picked it up. The stone slab felt cold and heavy to the touch, and the light pulses inside were beating. The 7th clue. Gao Xiang scanned excitedly. This icon is the core blueprint, which guides the order of opening the door, the balance of wood, fire, earth, metal, and water, and reversing the energy can resolve the shadow bite. Xiaolan nodded. Perfect, now we can go straight to the core. But the joy solidified instantly. Li Chang suddenly stepped forward, his voice urgent. Wait a minute, I have information. The Alliance's jammer is behind the secret grid, destroying it. He reached out and something strange flashed across his face. Zixuan was alert, and details flashed through his mind. Li Chang's steps were too fast, his eyes avoided the stone slabs, and the echo in the passage was different, not a single step, but how many? Gao Xiang's scanner suddenly blared, alarm. A pulse signal was sent from Li Chang. He hit a small jammer. The first turning point broke out. Behind the secret grid, a hidden iron net popped up and hit Zixuan. Electric arcs were sizzling on the net, and the smell of burnt air hit your nostrils. Xiaolan screamed, trap. Li Chang turned pale and took a step back. I was forced. The inner ghost threatened me to set up this trap and destroy your key in exchange for my freedom. The iron net whizzed over, and Zixuan instinctively turned sideways. The net grazed his sleeve, and the fabric was charred, and the pain was like fire. He didn't panic, and his inner monologue was like lightning. I used to be hostile to him and regard him as a traitor, but now I understand fear makes people distorted, just like my fantasy. He shouted, stop. Li Chang, this is not cooperation, this is self-destruction. The illustration shows that the human trap will backfire. Your jammer has activated the channel alarm. As soon as he finished speaking, the wall trembled, and the iron net rebounded, wrapping around Li Chang. He screamed and was pulled down by the net. Electric arcs shot through his upper body, causing him to twitch. Zixuan rushed forward and held down the net with the golden light of his student ID card. The spell paused its energy for 3 seconds and the iron net froze. Gao Xiang rushed over and removed the hidden device on Li Chang, a thumb-sized black box that buzzed and stopped. Xiaolan helped Li Chang up, with a stern but gentle voice. Idiot, you think you sold us in exchange for peace? The alliance never keeps its promises. Li Chang gasped, his eyes collapsed, tears mixed with sweat. I'm afraid of ruining everything. Zixuan, I'm sorry. Zixuan squatted down, stared at him, and said in a steady voice, I understand, from hostility at this point, you are not a bad person, you are bound by fear. Join us, true cooperation, your information saved us, don't hide it this time. The team tolerates you and I believe in you. The inner monologue surged, I used to only blame, but now I understand. The struggles of my opponents are like mirrors, reflecting my growth. Tolerance is not weakness, it is strength. Li Chang nodded and clenched his fists. Okay, I'll tell you everything. The mole is the school worker Lao Wang. He is hiding in the warehouse and plans to raid the core tonight. Everyone relaxed, the tacit understanding deepened, and the whispers in the passage seemed to confirm. But the crisis is not over. The moment the slate icon was activated, the entire maze roared, and cracks in the walls spread, like a giant beast waking up. The ground trembled, stone bricks collapsed, dust filled the air, and the air reverberated with the sound of shattering. The second turning point breaks out, collapse. Run! Gao Xiang yelled as a rock fell from above his head and hit his backpack. The equipment shattered with an ear-piercing sound. Xiaolan stumbled, and Li Chang pulled her up, this way. The left wall of the passage collapsed, and water poured in from the cracks, as cold as needles. Zixuan's heart was beating wildly and he was filled with fear, but a diagram flashed in his mind, spiral lines marking the escape route, reverse the direction and turn right to avoid the collapse area. He calmly shouted, don't panic. The pictorial guidance, turn left to nowhere, go around counterclockwise. He took the lead and pushed Xiaolan away. The rocks passed by and the wind howled. The inner monologue is brief, calm down, this is a test of wisdom, from panic to control, I am the leader. Gao Xiang gasped and followed up, Zixuan, you are so accurate. They reversed the passage, avoided the main collapse area, and entered the side passage. Stone dust hit their faces, and their coughs were mixed with excitement. Li Chang stood behind and blocked a falling rock, I'll stop it. The collapse gradually stopped, and they collapsed in the safe area, sweat mixed with dust, and their breathing echoed. Zixuan gasped, holding the stone slab tightly, and the light veins in the picture became brighter. The collapse was caused by the warning and interference from the Alliance. But we are close, the core gate is on the lower level, and the password is the reversal of the 5 elements. Xiaolan patted him on the shoulder with a gentle smile, your wisdom saved everyone. At the bottom of the lake. The blue light is approaching, and the villain's aura is approaching. Gao Xiang repaired the remaining equipment, and Li Chang's eyes were firm, I will atone to the end. At the end of the passage, a blue door loomed, pulsing like a heartbeat, and the crisis was shrouded like a shadow. They stood up and walked deeper, the roar of the storm was close to their ears. The blue door trembled slightly under Zixuan's palm, responding to the golden light of the student ID card like a living creature pulsing. The moment he pushed it open, a cold, wet wind hit his face, mixed with the smell of algae from the deep lake bottom and the moldy smell of ancient stones, which made people's nose sting. The end of the passage suddenly opened up, and the interior of the ruins was like a huge underground dome. The walls were embedded with luminous kyanite, casting a faint halo and illuminating a towering stone platform in the center. A huge bookshelf stood on the stage. The layers of shelves were like the backbone of a giant beast. The surface was engraved with twisted runes. A low hum echoed in the air, like a heart beating underground. The 4 of them stepped in, their footsteps making a sticky slapping sound on the slippery stone slabs, and the echoes amplified under the dome, as if the entire ruins were whispering a welcome or a warning. This place is too depressing. Gao Xiang gasped and shook off the water drops on his shoes. The equipment in his backpack was still dripping. He squatted down and pieced together a temporary auxiliary device from the remaining parts, a palm-sized metal ball with a green light shining on its surface. Give me 2 minutes and I'll activate this thing. The waterproof circuit is stable and can emit pulse shielding to prevent interference signals from the Alliance. Zixuan, embed your key and our team's equipment will be upgraded, he said while welding wires, sparks flashing brightly, reflecting the mist on his glasses. His tone was filled with the excitement of a technical geek, as if he was playing a high-tech puzzle game. Xiaolan was not idle. She moved closer to the base of the bookshelf and looked at the runes carefully under the blue crystal light. She touched the stone surface lightly with her fingers, and it felt as rough as sandpaper. She frowned more and more, and her voice was low but urgent. Listen, everyone, this is not an ordinary mechanism. The runes are the prophecies of Xianinzi, and the interpretation shows that something big is going to happen on the campus. The Shadow Eater will wake up, magic will run rampant, students' inner demons will surge, and the campus will fall into invisible fire. This is a warning. The energy leakage from the ruins is accelerating, and the rampage means that the entire school's electromagnetic field is in chaos. Students experience collective hallucinations, and stress amplifies into self-destructive impulses. Those rumors of self-harm are not coincidences, they are precursors. We must quickly open the Tianji volume and reverse the seal. Her words were like a bucket of cold water being poured down, and the air seemed to get even colder. Zixuan's heart sank, and the daily life of the campus flashed through his mind, the laughter on the playground, the bells ringing in the classroom. Who would have thought that there was such a disaster hidden underneath? Li Chang stood by the shadow, his fists clenched white and his face as pale as a ghost. He took a deep breath and finally spoke, his voice trembling but determined. I told you everything. The villain leader is not Shadow Fox, but a hidden member of the school board, Principal Lao Lu. On the surface, he is in charge of campus construction, but secretly colludes with the Black Market Alliance. The inner ghost Lao Wang is his subordinate. When I was threatened, he promised me a scholarship and a recommendation letter, and replaced me as an undercover. But now, I quit. Zixuan, thank you for trusting me. This time, I will help to the end. The intelligence is the bookshelf agency. There are 3 layers of protection. The first is the energy network, the second is the phantom beast, and the third is the disintegration trap. The reversal method is shown on the slate. Swipe the card in the order of 5 elements to stabilize. His eyes changed from evasive to firm, like a prisoner who has been relieved of his burden. Everyone was stunned. Xiaolan patted him on the shoulder. Well done, Li Chang. The team works together, nothing is difficult. Gao Xiang pushed up his glasses and chuckled. Ha, from a thief to a hero. The plot of a light novel, but welcome back. Zixuan nodded, and a warm current surged in his heart. In the past, I always wanted to be a hero alone, but now I understand that strategy is the brain of the team, not the brute force of one person. He held his student ID card tightly, and the 5 key components fit perfectly, with blue, green, and gold lights intertwined like veins. Okay, I'll swipe my card to open the way. Everyone is ready. Gao Xiang, aim the auxiliary device at the energy network. Xiaolan, monitor the rune changes. Li Chang, you are responsible for guarding the flanks. The tone was calm, like a team leader. The partners nodded, and the tacit understanding was as natural as breathing. He approached the central bookshelf, and put the card into the hidden slot of the base. There was a muffled sound, and green light poured out like a tide, spreading along the runes. The buzzing of the bookshelf intensified, the entire dome trembled, and the air was filled with the smell of ozone from electricity and the sound of rocks rubbing against each other. The Guardian mechanism is activated instantly. The first energy web burst out from between the frames like spider silk, and the blue electric arc sizzled directly at their feet. It felt like countless needles pricking the air, and the heat wave on Zixuan's face made Zixuan's hair stand up. Coming! Gao Xiang shouted, activating the auxiliary ball. The metal ball rolled out a pulse wave. The green light hit the power grid and made a crackling sound, like fireworks blooming underwater. Xiaolan whispered, the runes show that the network is weak in the southeast corner. Li Chang, your information is accurate. Li Chang gritted his teeth and pounced, throwing fragments of stone slabs from the flanks, hitting the weak spot. The network was stunned and cracked open. But the second level of phantom beasts gathered together. A giant python-like shadow sprang out from the top of the bookshelf, its scales flowed like ink, its roar was deafening, a fishy wind mixed with the smell of sulfur rushed towards it, its tail swept across, and the stone slabs shattered and splashed. The disadvantage came fiercely. Zixuan took a step back, his mind buzzing. This is more dangerous than the illusion at the bottom of the lake. Personal courage is not enough, so we must integrate. An inner monologue flashed through, from heroic dream to strategist, this is the transformation. He shouted, Li Chang, the python's weak point is 7 inches, use your electronic knowledge to detonate the auxiliary ball to interfere with its energy core. Li Chang was stunned for half a second, and his eyes lit up, yes. The inner ghost mentioned that the beast's core is afraid of pulses. He picked up Gao Xiang's ball, adjusted the frequency, and threw it towards the python's belly. Gao Xiang cooperated with the scan, the core is on the left, pulse 3 waves. The green light struck continuously, and the python shadow twisted and howled. Xiaolan took the opportunity to read the runes, reversed, the order of the 5 elements stabilizes the bookshelf. Zixuan rushed forward, the green light of the student ID card bloomed, and when he pressed the heart of the shelf, the energy network collapsed, and the phantom beast disappeared into smoke. The bookshelf made a loud noise, and the shelves disintegrated like dominoes. Amidst the flying stone chips, a crystal lock-shaped component popped out, the 8th clue, the final key component. The surface was engraved with reversal runes, and the tentacles were as warm as the pulsation of living blood. Successful. Gao Xiang jumped up and patted Zixuan on the back, your strategy is amazing. From working alone to commanding, we are invincible. Zixuan gasped and smiled, feeling a sense of accomplishment in his heart, it's not just me, it's everyone's intelligence and tacit understanding. This growth, from an individual impulsive to a team strategist, has made me more stable. Humor relieved the tension. Li Chang wiped his sweat and smiled awkwardly, I am a former undercover agent turned hero, is it worth a hot pot? But the second twist comes like a shadow. The moment the component was activated, the blue crystal on the dome suddenly lit up, and a tall phantom emerged, the image of old Principal Liu. His suit was straight, and the familiar kind smile on his face twisted into a sinister smile. His voice was as low as an echo, boys, you ruined my plan. The Tianji scroll is mine, and the Shadow Eater rampage can brainwash the whole school, control parents' donations, and build an empire. The phantom stretched out his hand, and invisible pressure came like a mountain. Zixuan's eyesight blurred, and past failures emerged like a tide, the embarrassing withdrawal of the library, the freezing of fear in the old school building, and the collapse of the illusion in the gymnasium. Phantom mocked, you are just a coward, always relying on luck and unable to get up from failure. Join me, otherwise the campus will be destroyed, and you will always be the culprit. The psychological defense line was like shattered glass, Zixuan's knees weakened, and sweat ran down his back, feeling cold and biting. The voices of his companions faded away, and Gao Xiang shouted, Zixuan, wake up. Xiaolan pulled him, this is a psychological attack from the leader. Swallowed by fear like a black hole, Zixuan closed his eyes, and his inner monologue was churning, failure in the past was a shackle, but now, I face it. From timidity to courage is not to deny, but to step over. He opened his eyes and stared at the phantom, with a trembling but firm voice, Old Liu, you are wrong. My failure taught me strategy, and it is not an excuse to destroy the campus. Do you control people's hearts? We protect it. He raised the complete key and reversed the rune flourishing. The golden light hit the phantom, and the image distorted and wailed, impossible, you broke through. The phantom disintegrated, turned into black mist and dissipated, and the dome returned to calm, leaving only the soft light of the blue crystal and the echo of everyone's breathing. Xiaolan hugged his arm and whispered, Zixuan, you are so brave. Facing the past, no one is better than you. Gao Xiang nodded, the psychological battle has been won, the hero of the light novel is the hero. Li Chang clenched his fist, I will learn from you in the future, don't run away anymore. Zixuan took a deep breath and held the key tightly. The parts were assembled perfectly, and the energy was as stable as a river. The fire of growth burns in the chest, from individual hero to team strategist, from avoiding failure to facing it head-on. This is the pinnacle of detectives. A low roar could be heard faintly from the depths of the Blue Gate, and the footsteps of the villain alliance were approaching. They stood up, their eyes met, and they were united like an iron wall. The final showdown, get ready. Zixuan whispered, the sound of footsteps echoed in the passage, and the climax of the adventure swept over like a storm. The blue crystal light in the dome gradually dimmed, and the residual aftertaste of electricity was still buzzing in the air, like a relic gasping for air. Zixuan held the complete student ID card tightly, and the pulse of the key part spread to the palm of his hand, as warm as the pulse of his partner. He took a deep breath, turned to everyone, and his voice echoed in the stone wall, the final line of defense is ahead. The blueprint shows that the core room is at the end of this passage, but the guard will be more ruthless. Let's go, let's work together. Xiaolan nodded, her eyes as sharp as the spider threads of the intelligence network. She patted Li Chan on the shoulder and whispered, your confession just now saved us, don't hesitate anymore. Gao Xiang carried the makeshift auxiliary ball on his back. Pushing up his glasses, he chuckled, ha, the upgraded equipment is in place. Whoever comes will be in trouble. Li Chang swallowed and clenched his fists. I will block the pursuers. Those guys will not let go easily. They filed in, stepping on the slippery stone steps, the pattering sound mixed with the ticking of water drops. The passage was as narrow as a throat, and the runes on the walls flickered under the flashlight, casting elongated shadows. The passage was twisting and turning, the air was getting hotter and muggier, and the sour smell of algae and metal rust at the bottom of the lake made Zixuan's nose sting. After walking for 5 minutes, Xiaolan suddenly stopped and took out the tablet from the waterproof bag. The blue light of the screen illuminated her face. She cleared her throat, her voice quick but coherent. Wait a minute, everyone, listen to me compile the clues. This is not a casual adventure. The core of the ruins is the source of Xianinzi's magic, the source of the Tianji scroll. From the fragments of the book to the fragments of the sealing spell, the picture we pieced together is clear. This source is the energy well in the Eastern Zhou dynasty could predict disasters and control people's hearts, but if used incorrectly, it would amplify negative emotions and trigger shadow bite rampage. Imagine the campus turning into a mental hell. Students are under extreme pressure, hallucinations spread like viruses, self-harm incidents turn from isolated to epidemic, parents donate money. Principal Lu Thought used this to control the entire school and build his empire. But if we open it correctly, we can reverse the seal and resolve the crisis. Zixuan, your key is the key, but you have to guard against energy backlash. Her words were like a cold wind that woke everyone up. Gao Xiang's eyes lit up when he heard it. Yes, the source's violent outburst will be like an earthquake. Amplified version, the electromagnetic field on campus is in complete chaos. Luckily I have the data to back it up. Li Chan lowered his head and murmured, I was deceived, thinking it was just money. Now I understand, this is a disaster. Zixuan's heart sank, and his inner monologue flashed, from curious exploration to guarding the campus, this responsibility is as heavy as a mountain. But with them, I can bear it. The front suddenly opened up, and a huge stone arch blocked the road. The door was embedded with grooves like layers of bookshelves. Runes were entangled like vines. The blue light pulsed violently. There was a low hum in the air, like the breath of a beast. Gao Xiang took the lead, squatting by the door, taking out tools from his backpack, sparks flickering. Time to strengthen. The defense layer of the student ID card must be increased. He said while welding, his voice was excited and a little nervous. The pulse module embedded in the auxiliary ball can generate an energy shield to block the backlash from the source. Sister Xiaolan's clues show that there will be invisible shock wave. This shield can absorb 30% of energy. Zixuan, give me the card, add automatic calibration so it won't burn out when you swipe the card. Zixuan handed over the key, which felt cool to the touch. Gao Xiang's fingers worked quickly, and the smell of hot metal hit his nostrils. Li Chan looked around and said alertly, the pursuers are approaching. I heard the echo of footsteps. There are at least 5 of Lao Lu's men with electric shock equipment. The fragment of the sealing spell in the head, the 9th clue, can stabilize the source. But be careful, activation will trigger the Guardian. After strengthening, Gao Xiang handed back the student ID card. Now there is a thin metal mesh on the surface of the card, and the blue-green light is more stable. Perfect. Defense upgrade, Zixuan, give it a try. Zixuan took a deep breath and approached the base of the arch, his palms slightly sweaty. He put the key into the hidden slot, and there was a muffled sound, and green light sprang out like a tide, spreading along the runes. The bookshelf made a loud noise, the creaking sound was deafening, the shelves were twisted and deformed like living things, stone chips were flying, and the dust in the air was choking. The secret compartment slowly opened, and a yellowed fragment floated out, a sealing spell. The paper was like a dead leaf, with ancient characters engraved on the surface. The tentacles were dry but had an electric numbness. Zixuan caught it, and the rune interpretation flashed in his mind, reversing the 5 elements, sealing the source invisible. It's done! Xiaolan whispered, her eyes lit up. This fragment is the key to preventing rampage. Gao Xiang scanned the fragments and said excitedly, the energy matches, and the spell can neutralize the shadow-devouring core. But the joy came to an abrupt end. There were rapid footsteps from behind the passage, and the echoes were like thunder. Lao Lu's men sprang out, 5 black figures holding electric shock batons, buzzing, and the leading strong man roared, boys, hand over the fragments. The principal's plan cannot be ruined. They rushed towards them, arcing lightning, and the smell of burning in the air. Li Chang's expression changed and he shouted, I'll stop them. You go into the core. He rushed forward, picked up a stone brick on the ground, and threw it at the nearest black figure. At the same time, he knocked down another one and started a struggle. Go! This is my atonement. His voice was mixed with pain, and the electric shock rod grazed his arm, the fabric was scorched black, and smoke rose. Zixuan's heart tightened and he wanted to turn back to help, but Xiaolan held him back, trust Li Chang's choice. We have to complete our mission. Gao Xiang's auxiliary ball rolled out of the pulse, blocking the 2 arcs, but Li Chang was surrounded, fists and kicks were added, and the smell of blood filled the air. Hang on. Li Chang gasped and shouted, his eyes as firm as ever, I'll delay it for 5 minutes, enough for you to open the door. The first turning point breaks out. Zixuan held the fragment tightly, and a rune flashed in his mind as a warning, sneak attack from the flank. He turned around and saw a dark figure bypassing Li Chang and rushing towards the hidden space, trying to grab the remaining pieces. Zixuan calmly shouted, Gao Xiang, pulse left. Gao Xiang activated the auxiliary ball, the green light hit the black shadow, and the arc backfired, causing the attacker to scream and fall to the ground. Zixuan raised the fragment, the spell text glowed, and an invisible barrier spread, blocking subsequent electric shocks, and the buzzing sound was like a lightning strike. The shadows were stunned, and the leader glared, impossible. How did you predict it? Zixuan stared at them, his voice was steady but powerful, it's not a prediction, it's the clues and the team. Doubt us? Now you see clearly, this is not a game, it's a protection. Your principal wants to destroy the campus, we are saving him. The moment he was slapped in the face, the shadow retreated. Li Chang took the opportunity to fight back, kicked the leader away, and gasped, listen to him. Old Lu's empire is in vain. Zixuan's inner monologue came, from being a novice adventurer, he was always held back by suspicion, and now he has turned around with wisdom. This is the prototype of a mature guardian. It's not genius, it's the accumulation of logic and trust. I have changed, from the curious boy to the starting point of a legendary detective. They rushed into the passage behind the secret compartment, and Li Chang's shout echoed in the back, go ahead, I'll hold on. Zixuan gritted his teeth, and his companion's pace quickened. At the end of the passage was the blue door of the core room, pulsing like a heartbeat. But the second twist came like a storm. The moment the fragment was activated, the entire ruins roared and an energy storm erupted. The kyanite shattered, invisible shock waves came like a tsunami, The air was distorted, heat waves were mixed with electric light, the stone walls cracked, and dust and gravel splashed like rain. Zixuan's eyes flashed as the storm rushed straight towards Xiaolan. She tripped and Gao Xiang's auxiliary ball was swept away and landed with a clang. "Be careful!" Zixuan yelled, instinctively rushing forward and hugging Xiaolan's waist to protect her. The shock wave hit his back, the pain was like fire, his clothes were torn, and his skin was burning and stinging, but he didn't let go, roaring in his heart, "Being fearless doesn't mean not being afraid, it's about protecting them." Gao Xiang got up and threw out a temporary shield to block the aftermath. "Zixuan, hold on. The storm is the source of the backlash, the fragments can stabilize it." Zixuan raised the fragments, the spell light became bright, the golden light spread like a shield, the storm gradually slowed down, the gravel stopped in midair, and then fell like rain. Xiaolan raised her head from his arms, blushing with gratitude. "Thank you, you are always the first to rush up." Gao Xiang gasped and smiled, "Full marks for fearlessness. The storm has passed, and we are close to the core." The afterglow of the storm dissipated, they pushed open the blue door, and the core room came into view, a circular hall, with the outline of the Tianji scroll floating on the central stone platform, and the light pulsating like stars. The air is cool, mixed with the fragrance of paper and ink and the hum of energy. As the moment of revelation approached, Li Chang's footsteps came from the passage, mixed with gasps and roars of victory. The villain's pursuers were blocked, but an even bigger storm, the truth of the source, was quietly awakening. Zixuan holds the fragment tightly with a firm look in his eyes, his friends gather around him, they are in tacit understanding, and they step toward the stone platform. The climax of the plot is approaching like a blue light. The blue light in the core room surges like a tide, reflecting the stone walls of the rotunda, and every brick seam is like ancient veins breathing. Zixuan's footsteps stepped on the edge of the central stone platform. The stone surface was cold and biting. Mixed with the fragrance of paper and ink and the low-frequency vibration of energy, his heartbeat couldn't help but keep up with the rhythm. Friends gathered around, Xiaolan's breath still smelled of moisture in the passage, Gao Xiang's glasses were covered with mist, Li Chang stumbled to follow from behind, the black marks on his arms were still smoking, and the smell of blood was vaguely permeated. He gasped and leaned against the door, grinning, "The pursuers blocked it for 5 minutes, which is enough for you to finish." Zixuan nodded, his eyes swept over everyone, and a warm current surged in his heart, from the unexpected curiosity in the library to the current mission. Along the way, we have become monolithic. Xiaolan took a deep breath and approached the edge of the stone platform. The flat screen in her hand reflected the blue light. She cleared her throat and her voice was as coherent as an intelligence expert but with excitement. "Everyone, listen to me about the history of the ruins. This is not just an antique, it is a living inheritance." Xianxi was a hermit in the Eastern Zhou dynasty. Foreseeing the Qin army's burning of books, he dug the hillside to build a cave and used 5 elements of magic to seal the Tianji scroll, a book recording disaster predictions. The source can control people's hearts and predict crises. But the power was too strong. He designed layers of mechanisms. The student ID card is the modern key, and the RFID magnetic field awakened it. The campus was built on top. During the Republic of China, Principal Lu's ancestors focused on this place and wanted to use papers to control local power. Shadow Eater's rampage is not a ghost story, but an amplification of inner demons. Student pressure is like fire, leaking energy will cause the whole school to hallucinate and cause disaster, and self-destruction is like wildfire. Spread. The recent rumors of self-harm are a precursor. If we activate it correctly, we can reverse the seal and resolve the crisis. Her words were like pieces of a puzzle being settled. Gao Xiang's eyes lit up when he heard it. He squatted beside the stone platform, and the makeshift auxiliary ball buzzed. He pushed up his glasses and scanned the stone platform. "Sister Xiaolan is right, the energy reading is off the charts. The source pulses erratically, and the rampage countdown is 5 minutes. Zixuan, your key is broken. Piece and swipe the base to trigger the final bookshelf magic, and combine the spells to stabilize it. But be careful of backlash, the auxiliary ball will filter it." Li Chang wiped his sweat, took out the remains of his mobile phone from his pocket, and said in a low voice, "I have evidence." Old Lu. Zixuan's heartbeat quickened as he took out his complete student ID card. The 5 key components fit perfectly, and the blue, green and gold light intertwined like a living vein. He took a deep breath and had a brief inner monologue, from being curious and swiping cards, to now carrying out a mission. This is not a game, it is a responsibility. The hidden groove on the base of the stone platform flashed under the blue light. He put the key on it, and there was a muffled sound, and green light sprang out like vines and spread along the stone platform. The entire hall trembled, and the bookshelf-like rune walls made a low roar, like a giant beast waking up. Energy surged, and the smell of current ozone in the air hit your nostrils. The outline of the Heaven's secret scroll in the center of the stone platform gradually solidified, and a yellowed ancient book emerged. The pages turned automatically, and the runes shone like stars. "The magic has been triggered," Gao Xiang shouted, and the auxiliary ball glowed with green light and pulsed steadily. In the spell combination, the 5 elements are reversed, and the seal is stable. Xiaolan came closer and read out the runes: wood, fire, earth, gold, and water, endless cycle, shadow bites away. Zixuan's palms were hot, and the fragments of the spell resonated with the key. The blue light gathered like a river, and the violent energy gradually slowed down, and the hum of the source turned into a steady whisper. But the climax breaks out like a storm. The blue door at the back of the hall suddenly shattered, and a tall figure stepped in, old Principal Lu. His suit was rumpled, and the kind smile on his face twisted into a sinister smile. He held a black market pulsar in his hand, buzzing, and the smell of sulfur rose in the air. "Boys, you ruined my good deeds," he growled, his voice amplified like an echo. "The Tianji scroll is the key to my empire. The rampaging Shadow Eater can brainwash all the parents in the school. Donations are pouring in. I will build a private academy and be the king forever." He pressed the pulsar, invisible waves rushed like a tsunami, the source energy was instantly chaotic, the kyanite shattered, electric light shot out, and the stone wall cracked. Zixuan took a step back, the shock wave passed over his shoulder, and the pain was like fire. His friends were forced into a corner, and sparks flew from Gao Xiang's auxiliary ball, energy interference. "He wants to forcefully break the seal." Xiaolan screamed, "Old Lu, are you crazy? This will destroy the campus." Li Chang's face was ashen. He retrieved the recording from the wreckage of his mobile phone and pressed play. "Yes, the source of violence, manipulating people's hearts, donating to the empire." Old Lu's voice echoed, and his face turned pale. "You, Li Chang, you betrayed me?" The first turning point was like a flash of lightning. Zixuan put together the rune puzzle in his mind. The pulsar is weak because the frequency does not match. Use the key to reverse it. I used to panic and run away, but now I can't. This is my mission. He shouted, "Everyone, cooperate with me." Gao Xiang, the auxiliary ball locks the frequency of his equipment. Xiaolan, read the spell to distract him. Li Chang, your evidence is a weapon, keep broadcasting. Gao Xiang gritted his teeth and adjusted the ball. Green light shot out like an arrow, hit the pulsar, and made a crackling sound. Lao Lu roared and rushed at him, whipping the lightning in his hand towards Zixuan. "Boy, die." Xiaolan chanted a mantra loudly. "Wood makes fire, fire refines earth." The rune wall responded, and blue light wrapped around Lao Lu's ankles, making him stagger. Li Chang raised his mobile phone, and the recording echoed loudly. "Black Market Alliance, Fountain Rampage Plan." Old Lu's face was twisted, and the audience was flooded. This is fake. What do you students know?" Zixuan calmly stepped forward, with confidence rising in his heart. "From a curious boy to the current leader, this reversal is my growth." He raised his student ID card, golden light flourished, pressed on the source stone platform, and the reversal runes exploded. The energy surged back into Lao Lu's pulse device. The device burned and the electric light rebounded, hitting him directly in the chest. He screamed and fell to the ground, the invisible force wrapped around him like a chain, sealing his interference wave. "It's impossible, my empire." Lao Lu stared and his voice weakened. The evidence recording was like a sharp sword in the face, proving his conspiracy. Li Chang stepped forward and stepped on his hand. "Principal, the game is over. Your empire is a nightmare." Gao Xiang shouted excitedly, "It's sealed. The energy has stabilized and the rampage has stopped." Xiaolan patted Zixuan on the aftertaste of the exciting puzzle solving has not yet dissipated, and the second turning point is like hell. Although the source is stable, the seal backfires and causes the ruins to collapse. There was a roar in the hall, the stone platform cracked, blue crystals shattered like rain, the ground shook like an earthquake, the stone walls collapsed, dust and gravel flew, the air was filled with acrid gray mist and the sharp sound of metal twisting. The entrance to the passage has been blocked, and the blue door has turned into a pile of rubble. Li Chang's shouts from behind are intermittent. "It's collapsed. Find a way." Lao Lu's phantom is still struggling. Invisible black mist sprang out from his side, trying to make a final counterattack, mixed with inner demons whispering, "Failure, eternal failure." Zixuan's legs softened, and fear was like ice water. This is more dangerous than all traps. From a confident leader, to now facing extinction? The inner monologue is churning. "Don't retreat, this is a test of extreme courage. I would collapse before, but now, I take the lead in escaping." He shouted, "Don't panic. The blueprint reverses the path. There is a hidden exit under the stone platform, and the runes mark the southeast corner." Gao Xiang rushed towards the cracks in the stone platform, and the auxiliary ball made a final pulse scan. "Yes, there is an energy channel in the southeast. But the rubble is blocking the way, so it must be exploded." Xiaolan pulled Li Chang up, dragging Lao Lu's broken body. "He is still alive, the evidence cannot be thrown away." The black mist rushed towards him like tentacles. Zixuan raised the key, and the golden light shield blocked it. The heat wave hit his face, sweat mixed with dust and slid down, but he did not stop, roaring in his heart. Breaking the limit is not about not being afraid, but about rushing. He rushed towards the rubble pile, picked up a fragment of blue crystal on the ground, embedded the key, and the energy exploded. A green light arrow was shot out, exploding the pile of rocks. With a clicking sound, a hidden passage was revealed, a narrow side passage leading to the upper level of the lake bottom. Li Chang gasped and followed up, "Zixuan, what a wonderful plan." Old Lu's whisper weakened, and the black mist was swallowed up by the green light. Behind Gao Xiang, the auxiliary ball pulsed like a self-explosion, and the aftermath of the collapse was blocked. Everyone filed into the passage, their footsteps echoed in the narrow passage, dust hit their faces, and their coughs were mixed with laughter after the disaster. At the end of the passage, water light loomed, and they climbed out of the bottom of the lake. The outline of the campus was clear in the morning fog, the sun shone, and the playground bell rang faintly. The crisis has been initially resolved, the seal of the source has been stabilized, and the shadow bite rampage has stopped. However, the evidence of Lao Lu's conspiracy is in hand, the remaining members of the Villain Alliance are still there, and the hidden dangers on the campus remain like a shadow. Zixuan leaned under the willow tree, panting and looking at his friends. Xiaolan's eyes were as gentle as the lake wind. "We won the first battle, but the ending is not finished yet." Gao Xiang repaired his glasses, and Li Chang nodded, "Submit the evidence, and the principle is finished." Zixuan smiled, and his heart was full of aftertaste. From curiosity to mission, this growth is like an endless source. The gentle ripples on the lake indicate that the final reveal is coming. The sun pierced through the morning mist and sprinkled on the lake. The waves danced like broken gold, mixed with the astringent smell of water plants and the moisture of the earth, which finally relieved the stuffy heat in Zixuan's lungs. He leaned against the willow trunk, his clothes still wet and clinging to his body. The cold touch reminded him of the aftermath of the collapse just now. Principal Lu had his hands and feet tied with a rope by Li Chang. He was paralyzed by the dock, his face was livid, and he was still muttering curses. "You students, what do you know about the Empire?" Gao Xiang squatted on the ground and repaired his glasses quickly. The lenses reflected the blue light afterimage. He whispered, "Don't worry about him yet. The evidence is in hand. It will be over as soon as the security comes." Xiaolan, record everything and I will recover the equipment. Xiaolan nodded, took out her notebook and mobile phone from the waterproof bag, and whispered while taking photos, "The channel under the lake is stable, and the source pulse has dropped to normal. But the entrance to the ruins must be sealed, otherwise the aftermath will leak out." She turned to Li Chang, her eyes serious but gentle. "You resisted the pursuers, and you were seriously injured. Deal with the remnants of Old Lu first." Li Chang stood up straight with a gasp. The scorch marks on his arms were still aching, and he wiped the sweat without ridicule for the first time. With a sincere voice, I officially joined the detective agency. Zixuan, I have been wrong about you since that night in the library. You are not a newcomer, but a detective who takes the lead. Your intuition and strategy have saved us all. I admit that competition used to be jealousy, but now, I listen to you." Zixuan was stunned, felt warm, and patted his shoulder. "Welcome, with you on the team, the intelligence is stronger. Let's go and clean up the scene first." They didn't waste any time and dragged Lao Lu towards the edge of the campus. The bell rang, students doing morning exercises were still warming up on the playground, and the whistle of security guards was faintly heard in the distance. Gao Xiang recovered the scattered auxiliary ball fragments and scanner fragments, stuffed them into his backpack, and said as he walked, "These devices are soaked in water, but the data is all there. The source seal is initially stabilized, the campus electromagnetic field is normal, and those rumors of self-harm should stop." Xiaolan added while recording, "Old Lu's pulsar was destroyed, and the remaining members of the Black Market Alliance are probably in the off-campus warehouse. The evidence goes to the school board and he's screwed." Li Chang nodded, took out the remains of his mobile phone from his pocket, pressed the last button, and the recording was automatically uploaded to the campus cloud. "The Mole Wang will also be caught, this time it will be clean." Back in the detective agency's activity room, sunlight streamed in through the cracks in the curtains. The smell of instant noodles and old paper mixed with the humidity of the lake made the place look like a makeshift war room. Lao Lu has been taken away by security guards, and news has also come from the warehouse stronghold of the remaining party. The police raided, 5 people were arrested, and all black market clues were cut off. Xiaolan closed the notebook and breathed a sigh of relief. The endgame is cleared. The entrance to the ruins is at the bottom of the lake and must be sealed permanently, otherwise the energy aftermath will affect the campus. Gao Xiang unfolded the map and marked the rune points. "Yes, the complete spell is on the fragment. Zixuan, your key is the key. Let's go back to the lake." Li Chang stood up with a firm look in his eyes. "I will be on guard to prevent any fish that slip through the net from doing anything bad." The fog by the lake has dissipated and the sunshine is warm. In the distance, students are chasing basketballs on the playground. The muffled sounds and laughter are intertwined into a daily picture. Zixuan took the lead and approached the hidden stone steps. The student ID card in his hand pulsed like a heartbeat. The 5 key components fit perfectly, and the yellowed edge of the fragmented spell shone slightly. He took a deep breath, and his inner monologue came flooding back, from the unexpected curiosity at the moment of swiping his card in the library, to the fear of iron thorns in the old school building, to the collapse of hallucinations in the gymnasium, to the roar of spiritual beasts in the bell tower, to the reversal of the storm in the core room. I have changed too much along the way. At first, he just wanted to prove that he was not a bystander. The label of coward was like a shackle, always hesitating and shrinking in crisis. But the trust of my partners, Xiaolan's intelligence support, Gao Xiang's technical support, and Li Chang's repentance and transformation, allowed me to learn to lead and face failure head-on. The final doubt is, am I worthy of being a full-scale detective? He is not a genius, but this journey proves that growth is not innate, but a step-by-step transformation in the mystery, from an isolated curiosity to a team guardian. I am ready to overcome this last hesitation, seal all this, and resolve the campus crisis. Let's begin. Zixuan said, his voice steady and strong. They dived back into the channel at the bottom of the lake. The air was still cool, but the energy pulse was as steady as the lake water. He approached the remains of the source stone platform and pasted his student ID card on the central rune slot. There was a clear drip sound and the green light spread like ripples. The spell fragments were opened automatically, and the golden light appeared in the ancient words: wood creates fire, fire refines earth, soil cultivates gold, financial water, water returns to wood, the 5 elements are reversed, and the source is sealed forever. Zixuan read out loud, each word was like a lightning strike, and the blue crystal fragments responded, but the energy surge was suppressed by the golden light. The bookshelf-like wall creaked, runes intertwined like chains, the entrance to the bottom of the lake slowly closed, and the cracks in the stone healed like skin. The buzzing gradually faded away, and the air was filled with fragrance, replaced by clear silence. Gao Xiang's temporary scanner flashed, the seal is completed. The energy is returned to 0, and the shadow bite is completely resolved. The campus crisis is gone, and those hallucinations and pressure rumors will naturally subside. Xiaolan recorded the last stroke and smiled, the mystery is solved. Xian. The remains of Inzi, from the war-torn seal to the modern protection, we have continued it. Li Chang came back from the entrance guard and nodded. The rest of the party was arrested, the school board meeting was held, and Lao Lu's empire was ruined. Zixuan, this seal is your credit. They climbed out of the bottom of the lake, the sun was shining, and the campus bells rang like a celebration. In the clubroom, celebration comes naturally. Gao Xiang took out Coke and snacks from the refrigerator, opened the bottle with a bang, and the foam sprayed like fireworks. Cheers! The legend of the detective agency is born. Li Chang smiled awkwardly and handed over the potato chips. I'll treat you. I'll pay for the hot pot next time. Xiaolan leaned on the table, her eyes swept over everyone, and finally stopped on Zixuan. She was gentle and a little playful. Zixuan, from the newcomer to the leader, you have won the admiration of everyone. On the campus forum, someone has already said that the detective agency saved the world. Everyone, although we keep a low profile, you are so handsome. Gao Xiang pushed up his glasses and agreed, yes, your growth trajectory is like the male protagonist of a light novel, from a credit card accident to a master of sealing, reversing every crisis. Li Chang nodded, with rare sincerity, I admit that your ability is beyond me. From doubting you to now worshipping you, the club is stronger because of you. Zixuan's face felt slightly hot, and a sense of accomplishment surged through his heart like a warm current. The atmosphere of celebration is relaxed, and the salty smell of snacks and the bubbles of cola make the fatigue dissipate. But Xiaolan's eyes made his heart beat faster. She leaned closer and whispered, actually, from the first sight in the library, I felt that you were different. You are very curious, but you have a hidden tenacity. Thank you for protecting everyone, and me. The romantic hint was like the gentle breeze of the lake. Zixuan hesitated for half a second. He would shrink back in the past, but not now. This is the courage of growth. He took a deep breath, held her hand, and said in a soft but firm voice, Xiaolan, I like you. From the time you patted me on the shoulder in the old school building, this adventure is not just about solving puzzles, but also about you. This feeling is like the pulsation of a ruin, steady. Xiaolan blushed, smiled, and shook her hand gently, silly. Gua, me too. Fellow detectives, or more. Let's take our time. Gao Xiang and Li Chang exchanged glances and coughed awkwardly. Gao Xiang smiled, wow, what a romantic harvest. The club has been upgraded to a love detective agency? Li Chang rolled his eyes, but couldn't help but laugh. Congratulations, newcomer, no, chief detective. Laughter echoed in the room, and the daily life of the campus returned outside the window. Students gossiped in the corridor, the sound of basketballs hitting the ground was muffled, and the aroma of food from the cafeteria wafted. The shadow-eating crisis has been resolved, the rumors of self-mutilation have ceased, and the campus is as clean as a clean slate. Zixuan leaned on the chair and looked at his friends, feeling full of satisfaction. Growth is not the end, but a new beginning. Friendships deepen, romance buds, and from high school detective to legendary guardian, it all keeps flowing. The setting sun was setting brightly, and the signboard of the clubroom was swaying gently in the wind, indicating a peaceful tomorrow. The afterglow of the setting sun poured in from the window of the clubroom, making the Coke bottles on the table shine brightly. The salty aroma of potato chips and the aftertaste of laughter still lingered in the air. Zixuan leaned back on the chair. Xiaolan's hand was still gently holding his, and the warmth of his fingertips was like the breeze by the lake, making the joy in his heart spread like ripples. Gao Xiang wiped his mouth, pushed up his glasses, and said with a smirk, "Hey, you two, stop showing off, the club has to clean up. I have to recycle and upgrade those pieces of equipment to prevent them from getting soaked in water next time I take risks." Li Chang coughed awkwardly and rubbed the scorch marks on his arms. "Yeah, I'm going to buy some medicine and post a clarification. By the way, the detective agency is not an accomplice of a haunter, but a hero who saves the campus. This time I wrote it myself and I promise not to discredit myself." Everyone burst into laughter. Xiaolan let go and stood up with a blushing face. "Okay, let's go back to the classroom first. I will compile the incident report and submit it to the school board tomorrow. Zixuan, take a rest and preside over the final ceremony tomorrow, the permanent seal, which depends on your golden finger." Zixuan nodded, and a warm current of responsibility surged in his heart. This is not the end, but the ending. Early the next morning, the campus was bathed in golden sunshine, and the sound of basketball on the playground echoed, mixed with the laughter of students and the smell of breakfast bread. The haze of ghost stories seemed to dissipate overnight, and the ghost story posts on the forums had been deleted and replaced with gossip about the campus has been super calm recently and the pressure has been reduced. Zixuan walked on the tree-lined avenue, Xiaolan side by side, the wind rustling the leaves. She handed over a thick report booklet with investigation of the campus relics incident written on the cover. "I stayed up late last night to compile it. It's all clues and evidence. Lao Lu's recording, the stronghold of the Black Market Alliance, the scan map fragments. After the school board has finished reading it, the entrance to the lake will be permanently sealed." Zixuan turned over a few pages, and his inner monologue was as bright as the morning light. From the unexpected card swipe in the library to the current complete report, the turns along the way are like a puzzle. Friendship and courage are the glue, turning me from an ordinary high school student into a detective capable of shouldering responsibilities. The joy is not the end of the crisis, but seeing everyone safe. The activity room of the detective agency was bustling with activity. Gao Xiang had been immersed in the workbench early in the morning. The tools were clanging and the smell of hot metal filled the air. He took out the soak scanner and auxiliary ball fragments from his backpack, and said excitedly while welding, "The upgraded version is here. Waterproof circuit and quantum filter, you will not be afraid of overload in the future, and you can also detect hidden runes. The glory of the club's technical geek." Li Chang opened the door and came in, holding a bag of ointment and coffee in his hand. The sarcasm on his face was replaced by a reliable smile. "I'm here to help." The clarification post on the forum went viral last night. Students said that the detective agency is cool and overcrowded with new recruits. I will be responsible for security and intelligence from now on, and will no longer be a rival. Gao Xiang patted him on the shoulder. "Ha, the upgrade from competition to loyal partner was successful. Come on, pass the screwdriver." Li Chang took it with skillful movements, and the atmosphere in the room was as relaxed as an old friend. Xiaolan came closer and added, "Your contributions have been added to the report. Gao Xiang's skills and Li Chang's atonement and transformation are all the highlights of the story." Zixuan watched them busy, with a strong sense of responsibility in his heart. "This team, from suspicion to tacit understanding, has made me grow at every turn. I am not alone, we are protecting the campus together." Afternoon, they slipped to the lake. The sun shone on the water, making the waves sparkle like the blue light of the ruins. The school board has approved, and security has cordoned off the surrounding area, but gives the detective agency one last chance to seal it permanently. The air is fresh, mixed with the greenness of willow leaves and the aroma of rice from the distant cafeteria, making this ceremony like an extension of campus daily life. Zixuan took the lead and approached the hidden stone steps, followed by his friends. Gao Xiang carried new equipment, Li Chang was on guard, and Xiaolan held a report booklet. There are no signs of collapse in the passage at the bottom of the lake, the runes on the stone wall are dim, and the source stone platform stands quietly, pulsing like a sleeping heartbeat. Zixuan took a deep breath and took out his student ID card. The parts fit perfectly and the golden light shone slightly. He turned to everyone with a firm voice, "This is the last step. We continue Xianinzi's legacy of protection. Swipe the card and the campus will be safe from now on." Xiaolan nodded with admiring eyes. "You are in charge, we believe in you." Gao Xiang's scanner buzzed, the energy is stable, ready to trigger. Li Chang clenched his fist, "I will guard the door, no one will disturb you." Zixuan approached the stone platform and pasted his student ID card on the central rune slot. There was a crisp dip sound and green light spread like ivy. The entire passage trembled slightly, the rune walls responded, and the ancient characters glowed with golden light. The spell of the fragment was automatically activated, the page was turned, and Zixuan read out loud, "The cycle of the 5 elements, the eternal sleep of the source, the heart of guardianship, passed down from generation to generation." The energy surge was gentle, but the golden light gathered on the stone platform. The entrance to the bottom of the lake closed like a bud, and the stone seems healed without leaving a trace. Suddenly, a phantom appeared in the center of the stone platform, the figure of Xianinzi. His white robes flowed elegantly, his beard and hair were like those of an immortal, his eyes were gentle but majestic, and his voice was as low as an echo, "Certificate holders, you will protect my will. In the troubled times of the Eastern Zhou dynasty, I sealed the secrets of heaven to prevent the inner demons from eating the world. In today's modern campus, the pressure is like a war. Fire, you break the mechanism, reverse the shadow bite, and extend my orthodoxy. The seal will be permanent, and the campus will be peaceful. Knowledge should be imparted to the heart, not manipulation." The phantom reached out and clicked on Zhong Zixuan's student ID card, and a golden seal penetrated into the card, permanently solidifying the energy. Zixuan's heart beat faster, and the touch felt like a warm current. This was recognition, an inheritance from ancient times to the present. The phantom faded, the passage returned to silence, and Gao Xiang's scanner flashed, "The seal is perfect. The energy returns to zero, and the ruins sleep forever. The campus crisis is completely resolved, and those strange stories and hallucinations are all gone." Xiaolan closed the book and patted Zixuan's arm, "You did it. From swiping the card to trigger the ceremony, to hosting the ceremony, this growth, everyone admires you." Li Chang came back from the door and clicked on the leader said, "The campus forum exploded. Students said that the pressure is reduced and studying is easy. Your legend has spread." Gao Xiang smiled, "Chief Detective, the club has been upgraded, and you will be the leader of the next case." Zixuan smiled, and his inner monologue surged, from an ordinary high school student, always gossiping on the margins, to now he has transformed into a legendary detective. This responsibility is as heavy as a gold seal but full of joy. There were countless twists and turns, phantoms of fear, rifts in the team, reversals of crisis, and each step taught me courage and trust. Peace on campus is not the end, but the joy of a new beginning. Winning admiration is not vanity, but the perfect fusion of friendship and mystery. Let me always remember this perfection. They climbed out of the bottom of the lake, the sun was warm, students chased each other on the playground, and the bells rang like a celebration. Xiaolan took Zixuan's hand and said softly, "The ceremony is over, the adventure has ended. But our feelings have just begun." Zixuan turned his head with gentle eyes, "Yes, from detective partners to more. The campus is so big, there are countless mysteries waiting for us to solve together." She smiled and leaned on his shoulder. In the relaxed atmosphere, romance was as natural as the lake breeze. Gao Xiang and Li Chang were making noise in the front. "Hey, you two are here again. Let's go to the club dinner." Laughter echoed, their footsteps were brisk on the tree-lined avenue, the campus returned to calm, and the strange rumors disappeared like smoke. Friendship, courage and mystery merge into an eternal legend. The story ends completely, leaving endless satisfaction.